Welcome, gentle friends, to the unofficial NUEL Blood Bowl broadcast. My name is Canafitch, joined by Kirby. We've made it all the way through the regular season, and now, now, we get to find out who our final winners are. Kirby, what has our season been like for our teams? 20 of them starting it off.
Well, there have been 7 weeks of Swiss played, and they have definitely managed to put the blood into Blood Bowl. It's been an extremely gruesome, hard-hitting, hard-fought league. We've managed to cut it down to the top 8 teams coming into playoffs. Tonight, the Cheez-Its, the Skaven team, will play against the West Street War. We have Mr. Ink, the Undead side, playing against leaders, YBBL representative of Kemri. And our main event tonight will be the High Agility Showdown between the Jorvik Jets and the last-minute team name, Skaven versus Dark Elf. But for our first match of the night, it's going to be Java Programming, the Chaos team coached by Karaka, against Dead Ends, the Orc team coached by Tinir.
So, for any of our friends who may not have been watching the league so far, could you give us a little bit of an overview over how Java Programming, the Chaos team, and the Dead Ends, the Orc team, have been doing?
Well, Java Programming got off to a very strong start. I think they won their first 3 out of their 4 games and only lost to the Thunderstrike because didn't make it playoffs. So they have been doing extremely well at the start. Sort of slipped down later on though. They managed to get a draw against Masterful's OYBBL, who are the group leaders. It's impressive they managed to pull that off, but they haven't really had the victories that got them to the top of the table in the first instance. Notably though, during this sort of slump they found themselves in, they played against the Dead Ends. I believe this was during week 4. It was a scoreless draw, and I think that's sort of this tipping point where Java Programming just sort of couldn't find their winning ways again. On the other side, Dead Ends have become the second seed coming out of playoffs. They went undefeated in the 7 weeks of Swiss. Notably, that didn't play against their YBBL representative, so a small asterisk next to that, but you play 7 games of Blood Bowl and you manage to not lose any of them. That's still incredibly impressive.
I'm really excited to see what these guys have got for us. So we'll be bringing you all 4 games, so every single quarterfinal from the playoff stages, from number 1 seed like OYBBL coming into this one, as we mentioned, without a single game loss in the season, a bit like the Dead Ends. I'm curious to see, because Java Programming has been building themselves up. They've really, like a lot of our teams in the playoffs, they've been a team that's kind of crept through, and in these last few weeks has really taken center stage.
It's they've always looked impressive on the scoreboard though, because they started extremely well. They managed to build up a massive team value. I think for a couple of weeks they were the highest team value in the league, even if they didn't necessarily have the scoreline to back it up like Masterful did. But they have been an extremely competitive team throughout the season. They have deservedly made playoffs now, and it's now just a question of whether they can progress. This is a straight-up single elimination format. If you win, you progress. If you lose, you are out, so it's all to play for here tonight.
Alright guys, so I'll just check to make sure these are on the wrong side, but as we can see here, we've got the friendly Chaos team coached by Karaka coming into this one, hoping to build on that momentum of taking the first victory away from Masterful, the only coach in the entire league to be able to do that. But for the Dead Ends, we noted not having a chance to play against Masterful. We'll have to see, if the Dead Ends make it past here, they may well get another crack to prove themselves against the very top team.
Absolutely. I'm looking to see who gets the kick here, because this is going to be one of those sort of slower, grindy games. You have 2 very punchy, aggressive sides. They have a lot of chances of block, especially the Java Programming team, who have block on most of their Beastmen. A couple of sure hands ball carriers as well, just to make sure they have some to play through the ball. But on the side of Dead Ends, it is your very typical Orc lineup. You have 4 Black Orcs to hold the front line against some of the bigger units, including the Chaos Warriors and that Minotaur. Of note as well is Groru, the Blitzer, with Mighty Blow and Piling On, who's going to be sort of the offensive player for the Dead Ends, looking to get past the front line, find the weaker... I don't want to say weaker players, because they're still beastmen, they're still really strong, but try and get them down, get their armor broken, get them stunned, KO'd, or potentially injured.
Alright guys, so the Orcs going to be kicking off this time with, of course, Recursion, the Chaos Minotaur on the front line, looking to dish out some hurt. Has only been on the team for a short while, but has already managed a couple of casualties as the first hits come in. You see there, we've got the Beastman OOP with block and a guard. A very powerful combination to shore up the center liners. Uh-oh! Recursion not wasting any time, gets that third injury. That's a level up off their first move of the game.
Well, badly hurt, so MacFang, if this team manages to come through, will be able to at least continue on in the season. That is an immediate power play from the Minotaur. You said he's only been on for a short amount of time, but you feel the impact from someone as big as he is. No access to... Oh no, it is a Mighty Blow, excuse me. Like, again, this is the sort of the problem with this 5-star defense lineup. You only put your weakest men forward, but you do feed them straight into these Strength 4, Strength 5 Mighty Blow guard players who can just immediately shred you.
Yeah, it's a very strong start for Karaka here. It's stripping away a little bit of that team value from the Orcs, and also looking for a second hit that's going to send them into the loving arms of Recursion for a second go.
Yes, that's the advantage of Horns, the extra strength off blitzes. I mean, you can, especially when you have plus strength on a Beastman, which is already insane, but then you can get the blitz to have them stand up to Black Orcs and get 2 dice. It's really powerful. So now we see the Orcs move. They are able to bring their more powerful units forwards. Now the line of scrimmage has taken out the first wave. They're trying to get some hits now onto that is conditional loops. Yeah, this is the piling on. You want to get that blitz off with him as much as possible so he can get the Mighty Blow, get the down, get the pylon to hopefully get the arm break, and then blitz, stand him up, repeat ad nauseum, try and just force these arm breaks as quickly as possible. Problem with this strat is you have to burn your blitz on it every turn, so you can't use it elsewhere if you want to go for that strategy.
Yes, and it's that little bit predictable as well, so we'll see how well Karaka's able to accommodate that extremely powerful player. Yorks will be grateful to see that that's a wild animal from Recursion. In their previous game, I think they pretty much managed to go through the whole game without managing to roll a wild animal. This time round, a little less cooperative.
That's just sort of the problem of playing the Minotaur, many other big guys with that wild animal, is that sometimes you just don't get to. So it's either taking the available blocks with his frontline of Beastmen, and this is actually a decent formation he's got going on here, where it's going to be very difficult for an Orc to penetrate this defense. The only way they can do it is by going around, and Orcs are not necessarily known for having the greatest movement allowance or the agility to get past the Minotaur, even if he is on wild animal.
Yes, unlike the other big guys, wild animal will mean that the Minotaur, while not moving, still remains there with its tackle zones. As we do have a push forward from a grow track with the guard. The Orc team, as much as they've taken some early damage in the opening part of this game, they still got those strength 4 Black Orcs, and they've actually managed to get block on 2 of them as well. Yeah,
they are extremely dangerous. They're sort of like, every time it goes to cutscene, I'm like, is it an injury? But no, it's just a piling on animation.
Yeah, that's 2 piling on so far, and no armor break on the plus strength Beastman conditional loops. I'm kind of... Well, this is a little bit awkward as well for the Orc team, because now... Oh, hello, hold on.
Well, you speak of injuries, Grotrak will get KO'd, so that's at least some value gained.
And that's not a small thing either. That's the guard player from Tinner's side of things. They've got various different blitzers with various different jobs, as, the double skulls will be rerolled. But with the guard now gone, perhaps the strength advantage will more definitively swing in the Chaos team's favour.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need the one-on-one strength advantage, but you need to have that positional advantage that guard very notably just bursts away, because you can't just stack players on top to remove it. So now we're going to see the cage That's... All right, I'm hesitating here because, okay, if this Orc goes down, it becomes a lot nicer.
Oh, goes down in style. Sawclaw is dead!
Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
Oh boy. Did they get Apothecary there? Let's have a quick check and see. No, they did get Apothecary. It's gone. It was a double dead for Sawclaw.
Oh my lord!
Everything is going to hell here for the Orc team, down to 1050 team value against 1430 on Karaka's squad. This is a disaster of a start. The Orc armor, normally invulnerable, as another piling on attempt is made onto conditional loops. They've denied everyone so far. They have to get injured here, or the Orcs are going to end up way too far behind.
Oh, they finally broke armor. He's stunned. Congratulations. One of your players is injured. One of your players is dead twice. This is not looking good for 10 ends. There's currently 3 players down, and they're trying to play this sort of aggressive style where you need to have the man advantage at all times, because otherwise you just get bound to a pulp.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a big gamble for Karaka to send up that really expensive plus strength player to distract Tinir from this advance at the left-hand side as Wild Animal goes awry. A rerolled block on to Aztec ET, who does have block themselves. The center remains intact for the Orcs, but you can see this left flank, there's just nothing here anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, it's fair enough if you're even on the center. That's not where you need to be. You need to be contesting this Beastman cage that's forming up right now, and it's going to be scoring, well, it's going to be in scoring range in the next turn. Whether he actually goes for the score is another question entirely. He might actually just not even bother with the cage. He might just zone off all of the Orcs. Because he has the man advantage. You can absolutely say, I'm just going to put a bunch of bodies in front of you so you can't get to my ball carrier. We're going to put you in the cage for 4 or 5 turns and just punch you repeatedly until you fall over.
I mean, that repeated punching seems to be working the right so far. That's a Black Orc down, those movement 4 players. They wouldn't be very good at chasing the ball under the best of circumstances, but if they have to stand up, why, they're not even moving at all.
So... Tinin desperately needs some armor breaks, some KOs, some injuries, something to just level this playing field right now. Because if this continues, like even if he just gets knocked down for a couple of turns, he's going to struggle extremely hard when he gets his possession in the next half.
We noted Karaka's Chaos team position. They've managed to pretty much take over this part of the pitch as the Orcs struggle to get back on their feet. A couple of pushes, nothing good. They do have, finally, Goro coming back into the center, as it's going to be a foul. I think that's going to be... Ooh, Mordrag set off. That's their dirty player taking out of commission on their first foul.
And... this, like, he's down 4 players in a punchy matchup. Like, again, you can see what's happening now when, like, he's going to get surrounded. He's going to get punched. The ball isn't going to get scored for another 4 turns, right? Because this is a perfect situation for Karaka right now. He has all the Orcs pinned in. The ball carrier is completely safe. He is playing 10 versus 6 in the middle of the pitch, 10 versus 7, whatever it is. Like, depending on whether the Murtaur decides whether he wants to wake up or not. He's just going to do this for, like, 4 more turns, and it's going to be extremely fortunate if Tin is able to get out of this situation.
Yeah, the only place there's an advantage for the Orc is right around Recursion, who, just like Conditional Loops, has done a fantastic job of drawing attention away from where it needs to be. So you have to knock over on the Blitzer with Tackle Sorost, one of their utility pieces. The only thing we haven't taken account of as of yet is the Wizard coming in here for the Orc side. That could be a difference maker, but right now they seem like they're too far behind in this half to really make that much difference with it.
They need... I'll just say they need to drop it at some point, because they desperately need to find a man advantage. That's only a stun. That is disappointing.
Oh,
I mean, you might as well go for the pylon, right? You need these injuries.
not going to get them.
Mm.
Oh, the one dice block! Oh, man.
He had 4 rerolls.
I presume? Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's no pressure.
Like, no, you take that attacker down because it gets the player on the floor where he can't be injured more. You don't have to take more of the beating from the Beastman because you cannot afford to lose more players at this point in time. You restrict Karaka to 1 foul per turn because at this point you can't go in this brawl. The setup is too bad for you.
All right, Recursion returning from the floor and doing what Recursion does best, which
My
is knocking
lord.
players off the pitch. I had some really big questions about bringing Recursion in the Minotaur over a 4th Chaos Warrior. I mean, from what we've seen, Recursion has more than paid for themselves many times over already.
He's doing the work of 3, maybe 4 Chaos Warriors right now. That's already 2. Well, it's an injury and a KO. But he is pulling his weight right now. That's so much advantage he's afforded this Beastman side. Growy's just going to wake up Blitz just to get the knockdown. He'll go for the pylon as well to get himself down so he can't get hit in return.
Oh, there we go. Yes, thinking about it for just a second. Okay, finally! Good grief. That has been a long time coming. So I think that's 4 tries with the piling on to actually get even a KO, let alone an injury.
Yeah, it's not been fortunate. Like, this... the. I don't know. I think he's trying to... Oh, no, he's trying to get the player into a range where he can go, okay, I am now in attack zone. If you don't score this turn, then there's a chance I'm going to blitz you and you're not going to score. But unfortunately, the go for it fails, so it doesn't come to fruition. He might still be in range. It's a Blackrock, never mind.
Yes, unfortunately, the 2 Orcs tasked with chasing the ball, aside from, of course, Gutdar the thrower, are moving at 4 pieces, and one of them's on the ground. So I think under the best of circumstances, Karaka's looking to score on the final turn, or his final turn of the half, will give the Orcs a chance to get 1 round of hits back. They're going to really need to make them count.
We'll see the 3 dice block here. They used a Chaos Word to do this. It's slightly scary because this man doesn't have block. But they'll take a push anyway. As
okay.
they do. Okay, it's. Well, I guess, like, do you take the risk of maybe the Orcs come through? Because they're getting a bit close there. And, like, actually, they set up like this. They can have a few of their players forwards and take a turn of punching back. Because it's unlikely the Orcs score in 2 turns. You can trade punches at this point. You have the advantage.
So let's see how the KOs work out. So no return for the Chaos team. Of course, 3 players, including 1 ejected, out. 1 of those KOs come back, and I believe that's a Blitzer coming back to the field.
Well,
so
you have to because only Blitzers got knocked out.
Oh, there you go. It's easy to call that one right then.
Which one's the one that's knocked out?
So the remaining one is Soros, the Tackle Blitzer.
So Grotek, the Guard Blitzer, is back.
Yes, that's pretty big, especially because the Tackle is irrelevant in this game anyway. As the Chaos look like they're going to set up the whole freaking team on the front line and just hope the Orcs can't find those 2 die blocks.
Yeah, because remember, you're 11 versus 7, is that? What can an Orc line do into this?
I don't know, though. Like, this does mean that with the Black Orcs, they're probably going to be able to get 4 solid hits in here and knock over 4 players and then another blitz. So
they get the 4 solid hits, right? Then it becomes the Chaos team's turn. They have at least 4 solid hits back. And I say at least because there's the Minotaur with Mighty Blow knocking around. There's the the Horns, which means they get extra strength.
Whoa.
Oh, this could be very bad, actually. Okay, not that impactful. The only thing that really happened is who is that in the back? I guess that would be Gutdar, the thrower in the back, who would be picking up the ball. But again, I don't think it's likely that they'll be scoring a touchdown this game, or this half, excuse me.
Ooh, that's another
That's a value at least.
That's something. That's not, it's not necessarily the best thing in the world, but it does at least mean that there's not a 2 dice block open, but we are going to be seeing a pickup. Oh, I take it back. We're not going to be seeing a pickup necessarily. Reroll comes in, so we've got the chance to make a pass here for some SVP. Maybe not on this turn, since the reroll's already been burned, but there is still space for another. I have to think Karaka has let the early score happen, in part at least, to allow Recursion another shot at the Orcs.
Yes. So they've given him the extra shot. Let's see him take it. Oh wait, first a position man, because he could probably get 3 dice on this. He's a strength 5. Do you have a movable guard?
6,
no,
7?
Not there. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my word!
Oh, it's a miss next game. It's okay.
Okay, Apothecary.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a chilling reminder for Karaka that one of the big things that their heavy hitters, the Chaos Warriors and the Minotaurs, are all missing is none of them have block. So, I mean, as much as that
saved him there, to be fair, it was Loner because he got double skulls into fail the reroll attempt.
Well, yeah, I mean, even with that though, like, you know, there's a decent chance of that happening each time we do see the Chaos Warriors or the Minotaurs block, though not the case here for our good piling on friend who again fails to get an injury. These beastmen are holding up incredibly well under that kill combo.
It's the high armor value, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of insane how few armor breaks that Tin has managed to get, but the orcs are like armor. What is that? 8, 9, depending on who you're punching. They are. Sorry, the beastmen. The beastmen are armor.
No, they're armor 8.
Armor 8. Okay, so that's what I thought. That's still pretty tanky. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I play in Kislev teams where they have armor 8, and I spend the entire time going, oh gosh, please don't die.
I mean, you have to roll a 9+, which is about 1 in. I'm trying to think now. It's like about quarter odds, I think.
Yeah, the bell curve is definitely not favourable, particularly once you get above 8. But piling on a Mighty Blow certainly make that a lot more likely. I think, honestly, Tyner... I actually asked them and they didn't even know how their own name is pronounced because they just made it up.
Hey.
What they've encountered so far, I think has been some pretty bad luck. They've been so focused on trying to get their Mighty Blow piling on combo working that they didn't even try and really defend against that score.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't, to be fair. Like, as soon as they lost the first few players, it was very easy for the Beastman side to just cage them instead of caging around the ball carrier. It was kind of an unfortunate circumstance they found themselves in, so they were trying to play to level the field for this half, which is where they can actually score and bring this game to a draw and overtime.
I do not like this from Karaka. They've put the armor value 8 recursion on the front line where he's definitely going to get knocked down and left nested ifs behind instead. The
thing is, he is strength 5. There's no guard available. I say that, okay, there's 1 guard available for dead ends, but that only gets them to maybe strength 5 and a Black Hawk. They need more players in. The Minotaur is exposed, but he's relatively safe depending on how these initial blocks go. If this other Chaos Warrior manages to... never mind, he's down. So now your Minotaur is in fact exposed. Who's that left to do the blocking, though? Because it doesn't look like a Black Orc, unless they go for a Blitz. Well...
Oh, well, no, it's regular Orc, but... Oh, with no follow-up there, because that could have been another 2-die Blitz onto Recursion. But it looks like instead, focus is going to be over here on the flank medium horns. Going to get piled onto. This is
why you need to use the Blitz. You have this arm break machine, you need to use the Blitz on it. That's the sort of problem with investing in it.
It does leave him downed next to one of Karaka's players, though. I mean, if there's ever a foul target on the Orc team to go after with a team that's got armor value 9, it's got to be this Mighty Blow piling on Orc.
Yeah. You see the problem with fouling that we've already established in this game. There is a chance that your player just gets sent off. Java programming have the man advantage right now. They don't need to risk it by going for fouls. They can just go for these punches, which is a much safer alternative.
So we've got a huge amount of room up to the left and right, and honestly the entire Orc flank right now. We saw this before. The Orcs were able to hold the centre, relatively well, but their flanks were left wide open. We're not actually seeing a super aggressive chase towards the ball from Karaka. Perhaps they're anticipating Gardar's just going to throw it past if they go too far.
Yeah, like, you can send a few men back, but you really want to maintain the man advantage in the middle of the pitch.
Ugh.
Frenzy is sometimes not a very good ability.
Oh man, I really don't like the lack of a guard being sent forward to, go for that inevitable pushback. Because we had a Grow Track there, who of course I suppose couldn't be negated because of actually having guard.
Yeah.
As the Orcs are going to clear out the threats to their ball carrier, though only one of them. We've still got methods left up and available to go after the ball.
So I think the ball is going to come down the pitch. Get him to relative safety. I think the Beastman can still find a way around the back. Need to think about his movement, but
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they've got to bring back
okay,
to defend.
Yeah, you bring back one of your guard players, Grotek, just to make sure the ball carrier is in fact safe. And then just punch the way the rest of the beastmen and finally get an arm break, but unfortunately only a stun. Tarantino does give you a bit more space to work in as you bring this ball forwards.
That is a pretty big beastman at OOP. The block guard beastman, in fact, one of their more developed... No, I think it's actually their most developed player taken out of commission at this important moment. Chaos team, we'll have to see what they do here. Of course, Recursion is always hungry for blitzes, so they can actually get off the floor in the first place, but they haven't actually got anyone to blitz anymore.
No, I feel like just leaving him down is completely fine at this point. At least trying to pick him up. You don't necessarily want to invest your blitz into a wild animal. You could just use it regularly on your perfectly serviceable Chaos Warriors or Beastmen. Yeah, because Beastmen of Horns, this is actually super powerful to use a blitz on them. If the wild animal roll fails, fair enough. But at least you have resources you can use on the rest of the pitch.
Okay, so this is what we kind of anticipated when we saw the Mighty Blow piling on player for the Dead Ends, is that there will be some effort putting towards just trying to either keep them away from the most important parts of the pitch, or to put them next to a player they couldn't just blitz like a Chaos Warrior.
Yes. So now the ball is going to advance, but it's kind of getting risky here. You need to move up the cage. There we go. I don't know how they get... Because they have some decent presence on the pitch right now, but they're going to start running into the Beastmen a little more here. They have a few down right now, which is good. But I don't know if they can get through safely.
All right,
well,
block.
That helps.
So, okay. We're going to see the Chaos team trying to clear out this right-hand flank to start with. They've still got... This is a little bit awkward over here, because the Nested If has to come in to help Medium Horn even get the block away. It's the Wild Animal again does not succeed. The Recursion has done an amazing job smashing people, but now, again, when it's most important, is not going to be part of the conversation.
He doesn't necessarily need to be, though, because they still have a lot of good players that they can use. They just need to get them to the cage right now, because they're currently staring at, like, even on the pitch with it, which is not really where you want to be. So they get this push in, expose some of the corners of the cage to some more Beastmen, get a few men in front, just make sure you can't just run the ball in, and they should be able to set up to poke through the cage next turn, unless the counter hits here from Tinea are good.
What I'm trying to keep... Ugh, the counter hit is not good. So that's a reroll burnt instantly. I was curious to see if we might start seeing some kind of... Good grief!
Wow!
Do you ever think that the dice just hate you?
Sometimes the gods of Blood Bowl will will it so that such that you cannot win a game, and this does appear to be how they're trying to serve Tinea right now.
Okay, so this should have been a turn where the Orcs are able to move down the pitch pretty convincingly, but instead they've now got to deal with the Chaos with the Recursion Minotaur back up and in the mix. There's still not been too much penetration by the Orc team so far, but they are going to open up a path to the ball carrier now.
The good thing about this matchup for the Orcs is that it is versus Beastmen. They too are not particularly maneuverable, and the cage can hold quite easily because there's limited access to get. Finally, they do manage to, as you say, get around the back here, but it's taken them several turns just to get there, and they have to set it up quite well. And because the ball carrier has dodge, he's actually going to stay upright for now. And they've already used the blitz, so they can't put more pressure onto him.
Wow, that's extremely unfortunate. And hey, speaking of unfortunate, there's going to be Big Horn the second getting put down on the pitch. Recursion, while up, we should be able to neutralize. Here comes the Wizard, and there goes our good friend Methods, but without an injury, even though that was considered to be a mighty blow.
Yeah, very brief point. We were talking about it before the broadcast. These Chaos Warriors are very underdeveloped for a team. They have 2 SPP between all 3 of them. So when it comes to those sort of blocks against players with actual skills like the Black Orcs on the side of Dead Ends, it can result in some unfortunate circumstances for themselves. Because of the Wizard Lightning, Physics Student goes down.
That was from a 1-dice block as well, but yes, the wizard being used up here is pretty major. We are, of course, coming to the end of this game.
Yeah.
Well, I say that, we're in the playoffs, so we're maybe not coming to the end of the game.
But use the wizard to get rid of the tackle zone and threaten the ball carrier, because now you can bring the ball all the way down the pitch, out of the range of a lot of the pressure that Karaka was trying to bring around the back. So essentially, they just rooted from all of the pressure that was being put onto him.
Alright, so there's a blitz. Oh, it's going to be a blitz and an armor break next to the ball carrier. That's a major for Karaka to cut off.
Okay, he's stepping forward now, but he should have chased that initially.
Alright, here comes the guard. And a double going for it. Stu succeeds on a 6 and 3. So we've got reinforcements coming for the Chaos team. This is looking like a disaster for the Dead Ends here, as all the Black Orcs, the main strength, are left well away from the action again.
Yes. And to be fair, they used lightning correctly last turn, but they could very much do with another one. You need some block skills on this Minotaur.
Yes.
He's strong to the unskilled units, but as soon as you put him into anyone with block or dodge, he really shows his weaknesses.
I mean, that's the problem. We've seen for Karaka is they brought in the Minotaur late on in the team's development, and that's really, as much as they've been performing amazingly, I think things might be about to turn.
Well, there's only a few turns left, so the battle here isn't as impactful as it could be, though still very impactful. It's just a question of, you have your Black Hawks up the pitch that are a bit too far out of range to have any game impact. What can you do with this ball carrier now to get him to safety and into the end zone? You've used your blitz up the pitch, so you are essentially just relying on this ball carrier to get out on his own merit. And even if he has dodge, he's still only an orc. He's not meant to do that.
Yeah, that seemed extremely bold from the Dead Ends there to try and go for the dodge out, but I think they may not have had any real alternative.
I think what I would have done is I would have used the blitz on the ball carrier, tried to punch away the southernmost Minotaur, and just make the dodge into an now exposed tackle zone, or at least exposed space. So you only have to make the one dodge, and it's to safety. So there's a good chance you make that one. Unfortunately,
Yes.
had to make 2 dodges into tackle zone, so it went a bit wrong for him.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. We do have a stun coming in to keep one of the Black Orcs away from the action as reinforcements arrive. It's going to be... who is it? Methods, the Beastman, as the Sure Hands Beastman comes and grabs. So, while the Chaos team do have the ball right now, we've got a lot of Orcs in the surrounding area as... What? We're seeing a pass up the pitch!
Trying to get the ball up the pitch. They don't necessarily care about making this catch, they just want to get the ball out of scoring range. Again, Orcs are not known for their high mobility. If they can just get the ball up and away, they are probably taking this game to a 1-0 victory. That's all they need. Unfortunately, because it goes slightly awry, it's got someone in an awkward position where there's a chance the Orcs can blitz, knock away a few of these extra Beastmen, and get the ball out to safety into an Orc hand, potentially make a miracle passing play.
Okay, well, so exactly as you said, the ball goes out, goes right into the hands of Groru the Blitzer. But unfortunately his movement is limited, manages to get a good way down the pitch, and with the going for it going their way, it's back over to the Chaos team. They need to stop this score right now. The dodge into the tackle zone, the hit on the ball carrier, it's gonna knock him on his arse, and the ball goes further back.
Importantly, not stunned. He is still able to pick up the ball and throw it. I know it seems unlikely, but we have seen Orcs make these touchdown passing plays before on this stream. We could see it again.
Alright, so, yeah, you're right. The ball is very much not secure, but we do have another armor break coming in, and that's a Black Orc KO, a very pleased looking chaos, where as a result of that, so the Black Orcs starting to crumble a little bit. Both teams feeling the attrition. We go in for the mark on the ball. It's gonna... He's setting up for a passing play.
Yeah. Oh, you have to reroll that. Wait, it feels so bad. Because now you need to make a pass with no rerolls.
You've also got to make a dodge out as well, get the ball. You've got sure hands, I mean, you've got dodge, you've got rerolls built in for both these. You've got a clean dodge, a not so clean pickup, and then the pass. Can Tina do it? Sure hands gets it. The dodge gets out. The pass is... it's good! It's good, and it's 1-1 in our first quarterfinals, coming right to the end of regular time, which means we're almost certainly seeing extension here.
Oh, you love to see it. I will say, Karaka did misplay that when they had control of the ball and tried to pass it to safety. I feel like it was completely reasonable to just hold on to the ball and just try and slow the game down, force dead ends to sort of knock the ball out, use resources to commit to getting the ball before throwing it out. Because the way it bounces, it just goes completely wrong for them. As you say, 1-0 going into the end of regular time. We are absolutely going into overtime because I don't think it's possible for Karaka to actually score a one-turner.
So we've got conditional loops and physics student still KO, which means Big O, who is a block beastman, was to come back in. I don't think... let's see, so we've got 3 removed players and 1 KO for the Orc team. I think that they are... Oh, they may be short by 1, let's see. So their thrower... Oh, that's right, the thrower is on the team. We've got a badly hurt sent... Oh no, that's right.
Yeah, 9 versus 7.
Alright, so that's still a pretty major advantage for the Orc team, even if... sorry, for the Chaos team. 1160 team value versus 880.
No, I make it 980.
Ooh, 980?
Oh, because are you counting rerolls in that? Wait.
Oh no, you're right, I just can't read. There you go.
Fair enough.
And if you guys are interested in how we're getting these team values, of course, I'll send a link through to the chat, and you can view what we're doing and how we're actually getting these ones, which is through a complicated series of links and whatnot. Links. And
oh, the one-turn punching. I thought he came off KO. He was knocked out, I'm fairly sure. And
wow.
Again, this is going into overtime. You need the man advantage because I'm not entirely sure who's taking the kick here. You need... I have been... Your access to this file has changed.
Oh, it's probably because... Alright.
We might need to fix this. We might have to do that between games. You might have to track this for the rest of the game.
I think it's because I shared out a link which is a non-editing link, and it doesn't like the idea of that for whatever reason. Alright, but that's fine. So that was Sorost who was badly hurt, right?
Yes.
Alright, so we're now officially into extra time. We must, of course, have a winner here. The Orcs down to 6 players against the 9 of the Chaos team. It does seem like it might be a little bit more formality unless there's some extremely disastrous dice here for Karaka.
Yeah. So this is 8 turns like a regular half. Presumably we go to... Do we go to another half of extra time if this is still a draw? I'm desperate trying to remember the overtime.
No, we go to penalty kickouts, which is a dice roll, and you add your rerolls to that dice roll. So
this is the half for both teams, but especially Dead Ends, because they are receiving this kick. The destinies should theoretically be in their hands, but unfortunately, there's 6... Oh, there's 7 players on the pitch right now. Oh, the KO woke up.
Oh, okay. In which case... Yes, of course, because we got... That did count as an extra half, so that'll boost up the old team value a little bit.
They do get the quick snap, which is not going to help out greatly, but it's something at least. They need the most amazing line of scrimmage right now we've seen in Blood Bowl history to be able to pull this one out, I think. Okay, so we've got the initial hits coming in. Again, we've got the Minotaur on the line. It still feels really, really risky. As the push comes in onto Nested Ifs, which will still leave Recursion vulnerable to getting hit, but not 2 dice hit until all of the Chaos Warriors can be cleared off. That's one of them. And one more will open up the opportunity. Yeah, but the problem is these haven't been amazing rolls on the lineman so far. He's only got 1 stunned as the armor break. He'll be able to get the blitz out to the wide pitch to protect the ball a little bit. I'm very scared for the Dead Ends right now.
Whoa!
What are you doing?
Oh,
Why? Why?
All right. That is a big loss. So that's going to be another blitzer taken out of commission. That's Grotrak, the guard, badly hurt, I believe, as a result of that. Yeah, you're right. You had a good block on the Minotaur. He had block. He's a blitzer. They have block. Oh boy. I am So we've got one blitzer left on the Orc team coming into this one. We've got one thrower. We've got all of our Black Orcs still, so that's good news.
Good for them. They are about to get their lights knocked into next Tuesday by all of these beastmen who are currently just surrounding them. This is going to go so horrifically. This is going to be an absolute mugging.
Yeah, the Orcs, as much as the center has been their hangout for most of the game, you're right, it's become a lot less reliable. As speaking of unreliable, we do have Recursion refusing to do their duty and smack a Black Orc, so there's still a chance of seeing some unassisted blocks go the Orc team's way.
Oh. So the way that Dead Ends win this now is somehow they need to get the ball. I'd just say that it has to be the ball carrier because he's the only one with real ball handling skills right now. So they need to get a couple of stuns in the middle of the pitch against all of these offensive players. I would like to point that out. Make enough space for the ball carrier to just somehow just blitz, going for every single turn 2 spaces, get around them, and get the touchdown like that. Somehow, I doubt that's going to happen, because what I think is likely to happen is his box is going to get completely flooded with beastmen.
Well, the only thing I can spot happening here for the Dead Ends, the Orc team, is that we've got a pretty heavy concentration of beastmen over on this side right now, whereas the Black Orcs, at least the standing Black Orcs, are over on the left. So it feels like there's a small possibility we could see the Orcs wrap around this side. I mean, they wouldn't have a lot of safety if they were to do that, but if the wild animal goes off again, maybe.
Recursion really wants to make this game close, and unfortunately he's not going to be able to salvage it that much.
Alright, so there's the blitz. So all of the Black Orcs are going to end up being... Oh, not necessarily all being down, but it's...
Encircled. It's not a great position for him. Like, he can't get out. That's 2 or 3 dodges at most, if he's not already down in the first place, because here he goes.
Okay. So this is the Blood Bowl puzzle. A Blood Bowl puzzle. You've got 2 standing players. You've got nearly an entire team worth of Chaos players still up and in your face. How do you make the score? You've got a lot of turns, and you've got a reroll, which is something that Cracker does not have.
Unfortunately, this is going to be like one of those jigsaw pieces with a couple of pieces missing. Because I
can tell you which pieces are missing. It's most of the Orc team.
Yeah, you can see them in the top right of the screen right now.
Oh boy, I bet Tinian is really regretting that foul right now.
Oh, yeah, it was good at the time. Like, on balance probability, it should work out for him, but it just completely gutted his game plan. So now it's going to... they can't blitz the ball carrier, at least. They have to take out this Black Orc first. They are buying the ball carrier some time.
I think we're going to be seeing the guard player ending up next to the thrower. Bear in mind, though, this thrower does have dodge. So, under normal circumstances, being able to mark them all from one side would be okay. But now, you're going to have to stand next to the piling on blitzer. And I don't know if you can actually stop them from dodging.
Pass rules. You can pass to an empty square, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I'm thinking is, he just legs it as far up the field as he can and throws it to empty space.
You mean play for a penalty kick-out?
No, yes, you play for the penalty kick-out, because I genuinely think that's better odds for you at this point in time.
Well, certainly the blitz did not get anywhere, but it's a successful dodge. Unfortunately, you're not really dodging into any safer or an area, in fact, perhaps less so. But
he has to use the blitz to get to him. He can only make one block. It could go wrong. That player does have dodge.
Yeah, and there's no rerolls.
Yeah, like with that run, it is extremely risky. There's odds are this isn't going to work, but it is his best chance.
Yeah, I think you've got to take all the chances you can get here. So you're right. It's only one blitz coming in. I think it's probably going to be an attempt to push Gutdar off of the pitch.
Because that's don't have the players to do that. He's still one space away. You can get the ball out of the pitch, which would be interesting, but...
Oh, no, I don't mean this turn, but I mean, in terms of longer...
something like this, okay.
Because I don't think you can rely on necessarily putting them down, but you can certainly make it so they're dodging into 2 tackle zones here. Oh, okay, well, they're definitely not getting out that way anymore. I'm not sure... Wait, does this open up any chain push possibilities?
Oh, with the blitz, you can go there. That gets him out to there. Not 1, 2, that would 3, be beneficial.
4. No, okay. I forgot for a second that really the only players left for the Dead Ends are Blackhawks who can barely move anywhere.
Also true.
Alright, so no chain pushes, but we can at least see a Blackhawk brought in, which will negate a lot of this. So we've got the one die blitz, and it is going to be good.
Yeah, because you don't have guards, so you can at least get the ball out. So now you can dodge into one tackle zone, into no tackle zone. How are you doing this?
Oh my gosh. There we go. So actually putting the player there was ultimately going to be of detriment. The Blackhawks, they made their way in. The blocking players are going to whack each other again and again. Surely not. Surely not.
If he does this, then Java Programming have been completely scammed, because they deserve to win this game. But at the same time, my lord almighty.
Okay, so it's a 2 dice block that pushed away. That's good enough. You're going to get a blitz, but now with the Blackhawks there, you can't surround the ball carrier anymore. So this has got to be a good blitz, or I think Tinny is going to make it through.
You need to pick up that other Beastman, I think. That's a dodge. That doesn't do it. You need to move that Beastman up. Can you get him I don't know how much move he has. They make a go for it just to get him down pitch, force those tackle zones. That's really good movement, actually, from Karaka.
This isn't. This is not unlikely. We're going to be seeing a knockaway on the Beastman there. We can see just a clean dodge right into the end zone. They're not even going to bother.
What is this? No!
That is just ridiculous. All credits here. They managed to take the worst looking game situation I think I've ever seen and turn it into a score. I mean, the game's not over, but that's so close to the end. And
no, that's over. That's over.
That is over.
It's 1 score to a finish. Thank you very much. Dead Ends win the game 2-1.
Well, goes to show. I didn't even realize. I thought it would run all the turns, but no. I was totally wrong. Dead Ends, they take a death. They get absolutely clobbered. But Java Programming, the only player who beat up our #1 seed, Masterful, is knocked out in the first round of playoffs. There will be no return rematch against Masterful. And Dead Ends, I mean, wow.
That was simultaneously the least deserved victory I've ever seen. But at the same time, that was the most incredible thing I think I've seen in my history of playing Blood Bowl. What the heck? That was played so perfectly well for him. The positioning, being able to get the ball loose, exactly what I said he needed to, getting those tackle zones to make sure he took as few dodges as possible all the way to the end zone. Oh, my word.
Yeah, that's got to sting for Karaka real bad. That definitely seemed like a game, I think it goes without saying, if we have a look at some of the stats from that game, there wasn't, we got the injuries, we got the kills, the KOs were the same, an absolute ton of blocks from these two. I mean, last time these two teams met each other, it was a draw, so it makes sense that we did end up going to overtime, but Dead Ends advance, they get themselves a ton of SPP as well, so even though their blitzer line got pretty darn clobbered during that one, I think it was one of the death was one of the blitzers, wasn't it?
It was on Sawclaw, yes.
Okay, that was, to be fair, of all the blitzers to get deaded, that was the one you wanted since it had no advancements whatsoever. You've got your Mighty Blow Polyon, you've got your guard, you've got your tackle. All of those will be part of the semi-final game that Tinea has earned their way towards. But guys, we've got plenty more playoffs action coming. This was only the first of 4 games this evening. So, Kirby, who have we got coming up for game number 2?
Well, the miracle story of this, the playoff series, has been the Cheez-Its, going 0-3 to start off, but finishing absolutely phenomenally, clutching the playoff spot in the last week. They go against one of the teams that was slated to do extremely well, but has managed to suffer some serious damage coming into the playoffs, the West Street War. It's going to be an extremely interesting game, and it's definitely one you're not going to want to miss.
Alright, there we go. Skaven versus Orcs coming up for our second playoff match. We will take around a 3-minute break just to grab ourselves some water. So stay tuned, and we shall return as soon as possible with game number 2 of a total of 4 today.
What's all this for? It's got me turned around, but I can't ignore the feelings that I found in this whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way, find a way, find a way, find a way out. 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 Looking past my reflection, thinking about what you mentioned. It was supposed to be the one to take every last pain away. Nothing on our loving, maybe time told us that we were different. Did it break you down? Staring at the ceiling, fighting off a feeling. One more minute, 'cause I just don't wanna come down, don't wanna go back to how I used to be.
Welcome back, gentle friends, as we are going to be shortly heading in to our second playoff match of the night. We are the unofficial cast of the NUEL's Blood Bowl competition. UK students from across England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland all competing together in various different games. Right now, of course, it's all about the Blood Bowl. So for anyone who might have just tuned in, Kirby, who have we got coming up for us in our second game?
Well, as I said before, the miracle run of the playoff bracket has been the Cheez-Its. They are the Skaven team coached by Dogster, who managed to go 0-3 in the first 3 weeks, and then have played absolutely phenomenally, coming through to finish in the 6th seed of the regular season. On the other side, we have West Street War, a team who looked like they had a bit of a rough start. I think they drew and lost in their first 2 games, but after that, they managed to get Soyo, who is one of their blitzers, Agility. And as it turns out, if you give an Orc very punchy frontline team a ball carrier, it becomes absolutely insane. And we've seen time and time again, Soyo has been the sort of all-star ball carrier for this Orc team as they form around him and just make space. Unfortunately, Soyo's team has not necessarily been as kind to him as he has to them, as they have sort of fallen like flies around him. As far as we can tell, there's either been 3 or 4 deaths, including one of their star blitzers, the other level 3, West Street Live, who I think was like Mighty Blow Tackle. So he was like one of the players that was sort of forming around Soyo most of the time. So it's going to be a weaker but still extremely powerful West Street War against Cheez-Its, a team that on paper isn't perhaps the strongest, but results-wise is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. We've ended up with 2 Skaven teams in our players here today. Of course, we'll be seeing the Jorvik Jets a little bit later on with their own Cinderella story of almost not making it to the ball. But, I mean, yeah, for the Cheez-Its, yeah, some of the losses they took early on in the season were absolute slaughters. They took a 0-4 loss And we kind of thought that was enough to pretty much count them out of proceedings, but a lot of the teams who did make it in to playoffs, they had the weak start, they fought their way back through the lower half because we were playing Swiss style, which meant their later games were easier than they could have been. And of course, the big thing about losing early on is you don't face up against the top tier opponents like Masterful necessarily at all.
Yes, it's like one of these trade-offs, because if you win, you are getting extra economy from wins, you are having more money so you can buy better players so you can win more, and it's sort of that snowball effect. Unfortunately for West Street Wild, what sort of happened is they have played against these stronger opponents, and those stronger opponents have taken their pound of flesh. So they are still an extremely powerful side, don't get me wrong, they're still an Orc side, they still have Soyo, who's insanely powerful in his own right, but they are not as strong as they were in the playoffs.
No, I mean, losing out on your star player just before you head into the most important matches has got to really suck. For Dogster and the Cheez-Its, though, they've got themselves as some of our teams have, they've been picking up these big big guys later on in proceedings rather than picking them up early on. But Brustslash, just like we saw from our Minotaur friend from the previous game, has already gotten a couple of injuries and has given some heavy hitting power to the Cheez-Its where there was really none before.
And an important thing to note about the Ratatoga in this matchup against Orcs is this Orc side, because of the injuries it sustained, isn't as leveled. They only have 4 blocks across the... Was that 4 or 5 blocks across the board? They don't have many to work with, is what I'm trying to get at. They are much more vulnerable to just getting out strengthed. So this Ratatoga, it can still Wild Animal, can still sort of negate itself, but shouldn't fall victim to having as bad rolls.
Yes, I mean, it will just like in the previous game with the Minotaur, and it's well, as you said, the not losing the tackle zone when you do get that negative trait, I think makes a pretty big difference if you're going to use the player as a kind of something just to stand in the way.
Yes. So like we see here, this is going to be the typical Orc setup as we immediately have the Orc stepping forwards. Whole Grain Cheddar is just, I mean, he's a minus armor lineman, to be fair. This was expected. An injury from before has sort of gone awry for him, so him going down this early is sort of the expected result. The Ratatoga does actually find the floor on the first turn, which is not ideal.
No, I mean, again, just as I said in the previous game, I'm not a big fan of the big guys in the front line, but it does, it is one of... In fact, I think it is one of the highest armor values on the team, relatively speaking, as we've got a Mighty Blow on 2 ways, who I think has got themselves... It's had a niggling injury.
Yeah,
somehow it doesn't die.
I mean, the niggling injury isn't a reduced armor. It only comes into play when the armor break happens. And he's still... I mean, okay, he's armor 7. He's going to get armor broken at some point, but it's still only half odds.
I mean, that was... Yes, it was a roll of 3 on the armor roll. They would have only needed to get on 7 to break through, so... We'll definitely be keeping our eye out for... Even though Keller isn't a Mighty Blow piling on blitzer like we saw in the previous game, that's still going to be pretty major against a team that's only got armored 7 for the most part.
We've seen across the league in multiple instances the power of Mighty Blow, as we see the wake-up blitz from the Ratatoga only results in a push, so we don't get to see more. The Frenzy, however, this is the problem with having unleveled Ratatogas, is that sometimes... Well, unleveled big guys in general, and that sometimes they just don't want to cooperate when you get the both down results.
Yes, so that's ultimately not really got the Skaven any further forward. Of course, the big thing for the Skaven team is always going to be their gutter runners, and in this case, for Dogster's team, they've got a pretty good selection of gutter runners.
Not the best in the league, certainly, but having a few gutter runners, they both have block, which makes them very... not very safe capable, but they're at least able to withstand maybe a few blocks from the blitzers on the side of West Street War. So they can get the ball dumped to them, like sort of when the positioning is sort of fallen apart. That's when they can make these sort of rushing miracle plays that the Skaven are known for.
Yes, it's notable that I believe we, at least unless I miss my guess there, maybe I've missed one, that was a lineman. We've only got the 3 gutter runners currently on the Skaven roster.
There are 3. Yes, my apologies. They all have block.
We noted before that these ones definitely with the blodge, the block and dodge, are going to be hard to put down. As hello, we do finally get a good hit from the Ratatoga. something we'll be seeing later on with the Jorvik Jets is they've gone much more varied with their gutter runners to allow them to not only dodge around and score, but also to potentially knock over a ball carrier as well.
Yeah, it's sort of like that trade-off where your aggressive sort of blitzer players aren't really as good as the gutter runners, so you want to have your gutter runners be those utility players as well. So you just can put wrestle on them as the Jets have done. Oh, that's double skulls. But obviously you can just use them as the blodge ball carriers as the Cheez-Its are doing here.
So for the Skaven team, they're going to have to try and somehow get around and access the ball carrier, because right now they're just getting clobbered around the place, and the Rat Ogre is probably not going to be enough to keep them away. We do have the push. Actually, you are going to see a push away here, so the Rat Ogre will stay up for a turn. Oh, my sister Lottie has turned up in the chat, who definitely does not play Blood Bowl. So this should be an interesting experience for you, Lottie. We're covering the Students' League, so the NUEL's Blood Bowl competition. We're looking back across the playoffs, elimination rounds for the tournament. So far, we've had one team eliminated. This is going to give us a second. And right now, these furry rat friends are not having the best time with things.
No, this is the sort of... The Orcs have been allowed to do what they do best, which is cage around the ball as well.
Whoa!
I mean, that's a good way to sort of start dealing with the cage, I suppose, as we do see the knockout.
That would have been a disaster if that had been a pushback, though. Fortunately, it wasn't, and we've got another successful hit from the Skaven team. They're going pretty aggressively after the Orcs here, despite the fact the Orcs are much stronger than they are.
That's the beauty of the cage, though. It forces people to play aggressively into you, because how else do you pry the ball out of the cage? They need to pick away at the corners so they can actually break through, hit the ball carrier directly, but to do that you do need to take some uphill blocks, shall we say, into these Orcs.
Well, there is a block in to our good friend Bruslash the Rat Ogre. He doesn't get injured, fortunately, but the Orcs are going to be able to slowly advance. They've got themselves 5 more turns, 5 turns including this one, to get the ball into the end zone. It's, when we're in the playoff stages as we are now, there's always a pretty good chance we get to go to extra time on most of the games, because it does change how the coaches approach their games.
Yes, it does mean you want to get ahead and hold that lead. You're not okay with just playing for a draw as you might have been in the regular season. You need those victories, because extra time, as we found out, is a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, I mean, even when you're super far behind, or super far ahead, as it was the case for Karaka, you're never guaranteed all the way to the end there. As Skaven trying to clean up this part of the pitch a little bit. Of course, Bruslash is holding the center as such as it is by lying down
He
there.
needs to stand up. I say that as explicitly as the thing he needs to do, because Wild Animal means he probably won't be doing that. But if he stays on the floor, the Orcs can just regain control of the middle of the pitch. There's not too many Skaven currently there. They can maneuver a few players around, form a cage in the middle around him effectively, and just move the ball there.
So there are enough Skaven who are not currently being aggressed on by Orcs, though that's about to change as we see here.
Yeah.
The Orcs can't actually advance that far. I mean, as much as Bruslash hasn't gotten up for quite some time, they at least are exerting the area of influence that if they do get up, they're going to be a problem, so the Orcs have to stay away.
The thing is, right, there are a lot of Orcs, the Orcs would block around the ball. I don't know if stepping back there was correct. So, like, I'm not entirely sure you need to be worried about Bruslash, because you have a lot of Orcs with block around that area. You are not too scared, because you can sort of risk taking the hit from the Strength 5 if it gives you excellent positional advantage, which advancing there would, because that Rat Ogre is the only thing you really need to be scared of. You're not too scared of him. So I would like to see the ball carrier move up a few spaces here, because now you're onto 3 turns. You need to move the ball up an entire half of the pitch, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing for Orcs to do.
The Skaven giving their bodies, giving their blood to keep the Orc advance at bay. As I think we are going to be seeing a crowd surf there, but it doesn't look like it's going to turn into anything more serious than just a little bit of a timeout for our ratty bro. You're right, the ball, considering how far we are into this half, the ball has not moved up very far. I think this might actually start putting Lostra into the position where they'll need to make some more aggressive moves, but right now they're just cleaning the Skaven out. It's another crowd surf, 2 in 1 turn, but still no injuries.
Yeah, they're removed from the pitch though, which is a very important detail because that sort of frees up the space that on the left of the pitch for this ball carrier to now actually make an advance. And again, that's how the Orcs are going to need to score this touchdown because you are running out of turns and running out of time to actually bring this ball forward. So they need to take as much of it as they can as quickly as they can from this point.
Yeah, with the West Street War having, got the downed Rat Ogre, they almost managed to get past that area of threat. They've been able to bring in multiple players to make sure that even if Bruslash does get up, they're not going to be able to do too much of anything about the ball. We've got a screen building up here, so the 2-dice block will send away one of the journeyman linemen coming to replace the multiple murdered members of the West Street War.
Yes. I'm not entirely sure that screen's going to be effective. They re-rolled the wild animal there. They are really desperate for this stand-up. Okay, if you step that rat back, the screen is actually going to hold. As you say, if that rat stood there, he can get punched in the face. The Orcs can just move across diagonally up and right, still have the ball in scoring position, and potentially be fine. With this screen, it's a little harder. They have no base-to-base contact, so they have to use a blitz to at least knock a rat down. And because of where the ball is, they aren't going to leave themselves with too much space to move into. Well, the old block standoff is going to really make it hard for this ball to advance now, as they're going to have to bring it all the way around. That is Soyo, the plus agility, plus movement blitzer for the West Street War, who has been an all-star throughout the season. He is actually in scoring range for now, so we'll have to see some of these Cheez-Its end up in front of him as the Cage tries to go for it to catch up with him, but unfortunately, Soyo's legs are just that much longer than his Orc friends that it's gonna cause at least a reroll.
Hey Mizra, so Kirby, Mizra's from my Rebel Blood Bowl league. He's the Underworld coach. He's been doing exceptionally well in the league. Of course, the poor Rat Ogre is...
You might as well take that, right? Like, you're not doing anything else with your turn. You would much rather have the Rat Ogre out and not have to deal with it in the second half. It makes sense.
Whoops.
Wait, they're blitzing... I'm not sure that was the... Oh, it does free up the guard, actually. That's an important piece. So you now have access to the guard, what is that? Storm Vermin. Who could potentially stand in front of the ball carrier and be a lot safer. With those angles, they potentially force a couple of dodges for Soyo to get this touchdown.
There's only 1 turn left for Soyo and the Orc team to make that happen. Let's see.
He can go to the right.
If we blitz this one away... Actually, wait, no, this is pretty trivial for the Orc team
to
do.
Never mind. Yeah, they need to stack more to this right side somehow. I'm not entirely sure I had the movement allowance to do it, but yes, you are correct.
Oh, I think it's not only going to be trivial, but it may well be Cheddar Jack's last night on Earth. Clonked and injured, yep. That's what's going to happen sooner or later. And it's only badly hurt, though.
Well...
Oh, no, Apothecary burned.
To be fair, you need the players. Because, again, it's a case of if you lose this game, the team is just dead, right? You are out of the tournament. There's no, commiseration league or anything like that. If the team doesn't win this game, they are all dead, essentially. So burning the Apothecary to keep your players in the game is a reasonable thing to do, I think.
Yeah, I mean, in the playoff stage, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So the cleared out space. Mizra, so this is for the NUEL's Blood Bowl League. So the NUEL is a UK student organisation that makes various different tournaments and leagues for UK students at university. So these are 2 university students going head-to-head. All of the people playing tonight will be UK university students. So Dogster, the Skaven coach from the University of Stirling, studying applied maths. Losra, the Orc coach from the University of Sheffield, with economics with international experience. Ooh, sounds fancy.
I didn't see if Bar 1 woke up. Can you scroll down a bit? He is awoken. He is back in this game.
Ooh.
So it's going to be a 10 versus... that can't be right. It's going to be a 10 versus 11 by my count. Because we do not have... I have to think about this for a second. Count 11...
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's because West Street Live isn't there. We have the sheet is missing a lineman.
There we go. We confused ourselves.
10 versus 11 in favour of the war.
So the Cheez-Its are going to, of course, get their extra turn of free to be able to get a little bit of hammering in on the Orc team. I expect we're going to be seeing probably Brasslash on the line. We've got the two sacrificial line Orcs there. I mean, one of the strengths of the Orc team being that the line, even Journeymen, are pretty darn good.
They're not amazing, but they're armor value 9. They hold their own. They're not like all-star players by any stretch of the merit, but at 50k they are serviceable.
Oh, that's a little unfortunate. So we're going to be seeing a
Wait, they don't have another turn. What? Oh yeah, what they do is they pull all their players out of range of the Rat Ogre, and then they just go, okay, the rest of the team all the way back. We know there's not a riot. We know there's not another event happening here. We can just offer these men. They've actually got 2 that aren't in base-to-base contact, so they only have 1 block and then their blitz. It's actually insanely good for the war.
Yes, that's a little bit unfortunate for them, but hey. I mean, it was fairly unlikely to result in an injury in the first place, and it does mean that all of the valuable players are kept nice and cozy. So I think we're going to get the... I imagine we're probably going to get a couple of blocks here. Oh no, sorry, just the 1 block there, and then the blitz.
Yeah, again, this is really fortunate here for the war, because there's minimal punching availability.
Alright, let me bring the music down a little bit. I think it's a little bit overloud.
Alright.
There we go. So it's not
Rastoga Blitz. Let's go. Armor break incoming.
It's yes. They're looking for a 3-dice blitz here. With...
actually, slight misplay. Do I want to call it a misplay? Slight option they're not going for. They could have not moved one of these rats, because they moved a lot of rats there, and set up for a foul.
I don't know if they're going to ever foul a line orc though.
That's also fair.
I mean, the thing is, like, you know, later on in a team's development, like if you've got a skating team who've actually got a bench, they've got spare players, they can definitely, like, just throw away incidental fouls because the opportunity arises. But in this case here, I believe there was 1 spare player coming in. That player has now been officially chewed up and spat out whole grain cheddar. So we're just down to what the Skaven team have left in play as we come into the second half. Again, though, picking up a single score for the Skaven team will be enough to force overtime, which is something.
That's true. So we're going to see the Skaven offense in action, and we've seen some nutty things happen when the Skaven teams get the ball. But unfortunately, they don't have the freedom of going for a 2-turn, 3-turn touchdown here, because they need to make sure that if they get that touchdown, the Orc team then doesn't score back on them. So if they get the ball back early, there's a chance they go to a 2-1. So what we're likely to see is, annoyingly enough, it might have to be the Skaven cage, which is a really sad thing to see.
Yes, not the best when your team is made up of a bunch of squishy meat bags. The kick comes through. Cheez-Its get an extra stream rule. That's certainly going to go a long way, as the kick is pretty okay, especially when you've got a strong arm thrower in the back, as the Cheez-Its do.
Yeah, now it's a question of how are the Cheez-Its going to play this. They're going for a few deep players, get the knockdown on the line of scrimmage.
Ooh.
Okay, just a stun, but it's advantage Skaven.
Not bad.
I'm just worried because they need to play a slow game, and Skaven are not a slow team.
No, I mean, we've got these gutter runners out on the flanks who would love to be able to sneak past and get in, but I like the formation here from Lotterer. Yeah, they've closed off the sides with Black Orcs, making it very, very hard to blitz a path open. And you've got this... Oh, hello. We've got a cheeky pass sneaking in.
Just a mini pass to get the ball in a more favourable position and to a better player.
There's that reroll from the kickoff.
Actually, with that pass, what I'm realising is that they are going for this fast touchdown, because if they go for this, they do just give the ball straight back to the War, and they probably have most of a half to score back. Unless what they're doing, they could just break through the line, and because the Orcs don't have the greatest movement, they can just stall on the line for a few turns, but I'm not necessarily sure they get away with that.
Alright, 4Chi is going to take a nap for the time being. That's a niggling injury player who survived getting Mighty Blow before, but not a second time round.
Yeah, he'll hit the bench for now.
I'm kind of wondering what's the plan here for Dogster, since they haven't made much of an impression on the York line. The York seem quite happy with the way things are going right now. Maybe a pass across the pitch to try and go down the other side?
This might actually be that wild
never mind.
animal that continues to be an ability. This is an extremely awkward position to find yourself in if you're the Cheez-Its. You don't have the freedom of going for these wild plays. You need to somehow burn turns, stay alive while you do it, and also score a touchdown. It's not easy, but they're going to try and maybe just poke the Orcs around the pitch, force them to expend resources across the pitch, and just find the way in at the end.
Okay, the door has been opened. The Skaven are going to pass through it with quite
They're going
some
to go for
speed.
this. Okay, so they're going for the storm the line. Going for it? Hello?
Well, it's Soyo, isn't it? It's Soyo over here. That's what they're trying to get away from.
Wait, is that Soyo there? I mean, even if it's not Soyo, that's still a Mighty Blow Blitzer.
Oh, no, you're right. Sorry. Yes, Soyo a little bit off to the sides.
Yeah,
but...
okay, no, he absolutely was in range. My apologies.
Yeah, these old Blitzers, they ain't too slow, and that's going to be a ball covered there.
And this is a scenario now for the Cheez-Its, because not only are you a score down, you also just hand-delivered the ball to the War. You see what they did last time with the 8-turn touchdown. They are more than happy to do it again.
And it looks to be that the War are going to try and close up those holes in their defences, and doing so with quite some aplomb. That's Bacon Cheddar out of commission. And with a groin strain as well, this could be missing the rest of the season unless the Skaven can somehow recover that ball.
Yeah, miss next game is a result that does not matter, because I don't think there's going to be a next game for the Cheez-Its. So we'll see the form up around here just to make sure they are able to get a hold of the ball. It's extremely likely with actually 4 and 2 players around, so this should be fine. And then they'll just hold the line, keep as many of the rats out of the box as possible. That's fine. It's either taking that or getting hit by the rat ogre, and neither are particularly satisfying, but they'll hold the rats away and go for the ball.
Okay, if that... Oh my gosh. If that dice hadn't been horrific for Bruslash, that could have been an avenue open for the Gutter Runners to get down towards the ball. Now instead, exactly as you said, the ball hand sealed delivered to the Orc team to go for a second score.
He didn't pick up any of his rats before doing that. Well, another arm break comes through, and now we see the real disadvantage of the Skaven, in which their armor values are pitifully low, and they're just getting slapped in the face continuously.
So after all of this has happened, we're still not seeing... Let's see, we've got... Oh no, I tell you what. So we've got Bacon Cheddar and Whole Grain Cheddar. Both of them are out of commission with Badly Hurt. So let's see. Yes, so we've got Missense Game and Badly Hurt. So we're down to 1,000 team value. For 6th seed, that's 200 off of their starting one for West Street War. Oh,
and
hello.
another one.
Hold the phone.
Yep, that's an MG, but again, I don't think there's going to be a next game.
Oh man,
goes down.
That is a chunk of change. Down to 900 now. That's a 100 cutoff. Oh boy. I mean, these Gutter Runners, they're really struggling to thrive here. And I don't even know how you ever get the ball back off of Soyu now.
You don't. It's... okay, you can. You have a couple of block Gutter Runners still. He is exposed in his current position. You can blitz him now. But if you don't do it now, what I think is going to happen is we are going to see a repeat of the first half where Loster goes, okay, here's a cage, bunch of walks around the ball, slow march up the pitch, take the 4 or 5 turns I have left, get there, score the touchdown, 2-0, go home, have drinks, next game.
Well, I mean, what makes that even worse for Dogster is that there doesn't even need to be a score at this point.
Oh yeah,
they can just sit the ball back at the back and surround it with players, taunt the Skaven mercilessly, and say there's no way you're ever getting hold of this ball, but you're more than welcome to try again and again until all your players are dead.
I think it is beneficial to bring the ball up the pitch though, because again they have access to Storm Vermin with block. There's a chance they get through and hit the ball carrier. Granted, most of these Storm Vermin are now on the floor, so less of a chance of that happening, but if you get the ball up the pitch, it's less likely that if the ball gets loose, it results in a touchdown. So we are going to see the ball carrier advance slowly, but not riskily, I think is the likely outcome here.
I mean, what we did see in our first playoffs game is that nothing is absolutely certain, especially if you get desperate enough. And desperation has to be in the mind of the Skaven coach right now. As the only good news is they've still got their Rat Ogre in the middle of the pitch, but as we're seeing, it's going to be soon reduced to an irrelevancy.
Yep. So we see here the cage loosely formed. It's mostly about getting as many tackle zones around the ball carrier as possible here, because that's the main thing you have to watch out for with Skaven. Well, okay, that is one of the Stormvermin with block, so they'll be able to take that dice, get the Rat Ogre to actually go off on one, but unfortunately no armor break. Finally pick up the Stormvermin who went down the pitch, and just try and hopefully contest the ball carrier next turn, because you are running out of time here. If this touchdown goes through, then there's no way the Skaven bring it back. I don't think they have the time, because even if they get the ball back and score a touchdown, then they need to do it again with the West Street receiving.
Yes, I mean, there's just a tide of orcs in the way of the Rat Ogre right now, making sure there's no way there's, even some sort of breakthrough. And while the Frenzy, will allow them to get around the pitch a decent amount. Oh, hello, no, never mind. I think they might be about to take a dirt nap like so many of their fellows. Clonked and KO'd. Alright, they're gone.
So, this is the problem with this late in the tournament Rat Ogre, in that he does not have any of the skills that make him particularly scary when you just have a black, not even a black cook with block. It's just any block, any sort of blocking skill, just anything that can stand in front of Rat Ogre and go, you are not as good as you think you are. Let's see the value passing play here for West Street War. That's how confident they are that they are winning this game. It works out flawlessly. Oh, it's just a handoff. Okay, I thought it was a pass for some reason. But, it just gets the ball out of range. There's no way they're actually contested at this point.
This is also going to give a chance for the West Street War to develop another one of their blitzes, as much as Soyo has been carrying the team for a long time. This will be a second blitzer coming in, presumably going to pick up either Mighty Blow or Guard for themselves to provide just that extra threat, because up until this point, the West Street War have been pretty one-note, though that one note, of course, has been extremely impressive.
To be fair, they had another note and it died.
That's true.
I don't want to be mean to them, it's just sort of, some circumstances have not gone their way. They are going to leave the ball carrier on the line, though, and just spend the remaining turns generating SPP by punching rats in the face. This is how you get advancements.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we've had teams, come into the playoffs depleted, West Street War are definitely the ones who need to get every little bit of experience and goal that they can out of this early round. Of course, assuming they got through it in the first place. We're going to be seeing more Mighty Blow blitzes. Of course, Keller is only one injury. Oh, there we go. One injury away. They're going to get it. And I presume they're going to be getting Mighty Blow for the semifinals. Sorry, Mighty Blow piling on for the semifinals.
What are they currently on?
16.
No, what skill are they on?
Oh, Mighty Blow.
Yeah, Mighty Blow pile on is probably fine. They could also might go Mighty Blow Guard for more that traditional front line route, and just someone who can hold the line of scrimmage extremely well. There are a lot of good skills that an Orc can take, to be fair.
I think that's going to depend a lot on who their semi-final opponent turns out to be. If the Orcs find themselves in an actual strength disadvantage, given that we've got quite a lot of mummies floating around, mummy equivalents, that's a real possibility, then I think, Guard would probably be the way to go, just to stop you from getting run over by these pile of strength 5 players.
I'll let's point out, this is how confident we are in Lostra's win here, is that we're now talking about advancements for a player for his next game, when the game is still happening. But there's no way that Cheezer can bring this one back.
I mean, Dogster's pretty much given up on getting the ball back at this point.
It's just, as soon as the ball was dropped and he didn't immediately blitz the ball carrier to try and get it back, that's when the game was lost, I think. But as it stands, this is now just a slow procession of Orcs punching rats, and eventually it will be Lostra's 16th turn and go, oh yeah, I should probably score as well.
Yes, I mean, there's 2 rerolls as well. The chances of... Well, let's say, even in literally the worst case scenario where somehow Lostra manages to turn over ahead of time, while it will cost them a leveled up blitzer, it will definitely not cost them the actual playoff game. And by the end of this, I mean, we're looking at a very Skaven-esque dugout with a couple of KOs, 4 different rats out, And, oh, a very disappointing final turn.
Yeah, so, well, it's not... No, they kicked this off, didn't they? I forgot about that. Yep, here we are, the run of victory, and that's going to be the game. West Street War will advance to the semi-finals. Broncos get to the level in the final turn of the game. Congratulations, Lustra. You're on your way to potentially not losing. I don't know where it's going with that.
A very tepid assessment of the chances. I mean,
to be fair, the team is still like horrifically butchered, but it's now less horrifically butchered than it was coming into this game.
Well, I mean, you've got 2 Blitzer level ups as a result of that last game. That's pretty good.
And so you've got MVP. Wait, they could get a level 4 Soyo.
Let's see, how close... Yeah, they are just 4 SPP from being a level 4 plus agility plus movement. I can only assume that next level up will probably be some kind of extra... It's going to be plus strength, isn't it?
It has to be. There's no other... No, what you do is you get bonus agility again.
Oh, you're right. Then you can really be an elf. I mean, I knew the orcs had pointy ears for a reason. I didn't realise it was this reason.
But yeah, like, as we say, the game was... The first half was just traditional orc half, and then the cheese that's on their drive had a really uncomfortable position where they needed to do so much. And they went for a go for it that went horrifically wrong, and from there it just sort of spiraled out of control, and they had no inch back into the game. So West Street were just able to drag the game out and managed to get the 2-0 victory.
Yes, and when you look at the ball possession stats there, Cheez-Its 6%, not even managing to make double digits. Oh boy, talk about locked out of a game. It's a real shame for the Cheez-Its as well. They made a pretty good miracle run towards the back half of the season, and to have this be quite as definitive as it is, I think this not only rejuvenates the West Street War after getting absolutely battered in the last part of the regular season, but I think it sets them up pretty well to kind of recover their previous form and make a pretty solid run for the finals.
Yeah, they can get some good levels on some of their players to try and rebuild some of the players they have lost. But because they have lost so many players as well, the team value is on the lower side of things. So they are going to be able to at least buy up to some level of advantage to maybe stay on parity with some of the higher teams. And those adjustments can be powerful in their own right. So the West Street Wild are technically lower, but there is still very much a fighting chance for them going into the semi-finals.
Alright, so we mentioned, teasingly, the possibility of seeing a bunch of very strong players slapping each other in the face. That was, of course, obliquely referring to our next match. Kirby, who's on the card?
Well, as a surprise to nobody who has seen these broadcasts before, the top team of the playoffs was OYBBL represent the Khemri squad coached by Masterful. Their only blemish was a 1-1 draw. Other than that, they have gone undefeated in the regular season. They are, by all accounts, the team to beat. Attempting to beat them will be the Undead side, sort of the Wood Elf Dark Elf variant, if you will. Mystery Inc.'s Undead side, coached by Hogdude Scott, will attempt to not stop the undefeated streak of OYBBL represent. Will they manage to pull it off, or will they just be another notch on the mark for OYBBL?
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a third of the 4 games we've got through tonight, our quarterfinals. We're covering every single game, but this next one will be truly titanic. We've got Mummies, we've got Mighty Blow, we've got Guard, we've got Death in spades with a team.
We also have John Cena.
Yes, and we also got a surprise appearance by John Cena. All this and more in just a few minutes' time when we come back. The third match of the night of the 4 total to determine who goes through to the semi-finals of the NUEL's Blood Bowl League. We are the unofficial broadcast, and we shall see you guys in just a few short minutes' time.
Looking past my reflection, thinking about what you mentioned. It was supposed to be the one to take every last pain away. Nothing I'm not loving, maybe time told us that we were different. Didn't break you down. Staring at the ceiling, fighting off the feeling. One more minute, 'cause I just don't wanna come down. Don't wanna go back to how I used to be. Fighting up the feeling. One more minute, 'cause I just don't wanna come down. Don't wanna go back to how I used to be. Looking past my reflection, thinking about what you mentioned. Nothing on my life, maybe time to just have a staring at the ceiling, fighting off the feeling. One more minute, 'cause I just don't wanna come down. Don't wanna go back to how I used to be. Staring at the ceiling, fighting up the feeling.
It's time, Kirby! It's time for the kaiju battle of the playoffs. It's time to try and cram 6 mummies into one small pitch and see who comes out from that blender of death with all their body parts.
I would like to correct you. Legally, there are only 2 mummies because 4 of them are actually Tomb Guardians. Thank you very much. Legally distinct. However, you are right. This is going to be an absolute slapfest. As I mentioned before the break, OYBBL have been the team to beat in this league. They have gone 6-1-0. So far, only one team has even managed to hold a candle to them. Masterful has shown absolute mastery of the Kenry side. I've likened him to the Kazuchika Okada of Blood Bowl, where he has the one play. He will get his ball, he will form it in a cage, he will march up the pitch, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. He is that good at it. Trying to beat him this week in the playoffs is Mystery Inc., the undead side, coached by Hogtooth Scott. They are sort of the Dark Elves to the High Elves of Kenry, or whichever way around you want to put that. They are sort of the splinter group where they have a sort of different set of similar players. Most importantly, they have access to whites. Ghouls. I mean, whites are also very good, but the key player difference here is ghouls, because that's actually an agility ball carrier. So potentially, the way I see Mystery Inc. winning this game is they get the ball on the ghouls, and they just outrun the Kenry, who can't really catch up to them.
Yeah, so Kenry definitely not fast, definitely not agile with a maximum of agility 2 on the squad. There's been no sneaky agility ups for Masterful, so it's been all standard all the way through. I mean, we've got some truly terrifying Tomb Guardians, some scary mummies on the other side. But let's waste no more time, because we want to see some giant people wrapped in toilet roll give each other a hell of a clobbering. And that's exactly what we're going to get. So our third match coming up. Masterful, undefeated, with only 1 draw. Every other game has been a win. The top of the mountain for so many of our teams now go up against 8th seed. This is Masterful's reward for a season well fought, that they get what should be the softest match possible for them. But it's up against a team with 1,400 TV somehow, even though they finished in 8th.
I mean, the good advantage of having the undead side is that most of them will remain pretty healthy. They have regeneration, so like losing players isn't as much of a concern as it might otherwise be. So they are able to keep your players healthy, which means they don't die, which is the main way you lose team value.
Yes, and it looks like it's going to be a home game for the Camry here, as you can tell by the not only sick dance moves, but very enthusiastic crowd. I think they're here to see blood as much as we've all been here to see Masterful dish out some punishment. But, I mean, for Hog Dude, who's the coach for the Undead team, they've made it through an elimination match to even make it into the playoffs in the first place, taking out the GSPS's Renaissance Painters on the way, the Lizardman team. So maybe that little bit of experience of being in an elimination match will at least calm the nerves a little bit going up against the best player in the league in your first playoff match.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Because, yeah, you can beat the Renaissance Painters, sure. Here's literally the best team in the league, undefeated. Have fun. So we are going to see the 5-star defense of Masterful keeping all of his key players back and out of the initial firing line of these mummies. They are Strength 5 and the Mummy of Ankar, Strength 6, you see there in the middle of your screen. Absolutely terrifying, has guard as well, so does actually win the straight-up fight going into the Tomb Guardians. Notably as well, I believe Tomb Guardians have Decay, getting this the right round. So if they go down, and they are very hard to get down in the first place, don't get me wrong, if they go down, there's a good chance they will stay down permanently.
Yes, I mean, if the regeneration fails, they'll have to take 2 injury rolls, if they do get injured, of course, which they'll have to take the worst of, so there's a decent chance they just die. But, I mean, they are armor value 9 players, they are strength 5. I'm fascinated to see how they match up against the 2 guard mummies, especially when one of those mummies has got plus strength as well. As instant injury, that's not a bad way to start at all. Cheeky Chris will get badly hurt, will get regenerated, expect to see that quite a lot.
Yes, but the important thing is, he's off the pitch for this half. So this could be potentially a very good half for Mystery Inc., as they, now with an extra stun, have very much gathered control of the middle of the pitch.
Okay, so, yep, the early blocks have gone pretty fine. Notable, though, that none of these mummies nor Tomb Guardians do have block, so there's always a possibility, even with all this Mighty Blow flying around, that it could go sideways quite quickly.
Important thing to note as well, that while the Undead side does have access to skeletons, most of the linemen on the side of Mystery Inc. are zombies who have that higher armor value, so they are less vulnerable to some of the Mighty Blow flying around on OIBBL represent, which has been sort of the typical way they have managed to maintain presence in the game by just punching people in the face, knocking them out, and then just, again, marching the ball up the pitch.
So, Velma, again, who unfortunately met a more permanent fate before. Let's see, so Velma, Bar and Beyond, and Yabadoo. Well, actually one of the ghouls, as there we go, that's the first bad block from a Tomb Guardian, Ancient Uncle. As, ooh, yep, an exchange of gunfire to open us up here. The battleships of both sides moving into position, and both taking a player off the pitch.
And I will say as well, because Mr. Inc. has managed to gather a few spare players from other teams, shall we say, they have a very deep roster. They are playing 14 players, which is the highest in the league, I'm fairly sure. So even if the KOs come through and don't wake back up, they have spares. They are not worried about the KOs as much as other teams might be.
Yes, so Bar and Beyond, I think maybe was under a different name. Let's see.
I think Bar and Beyond was a player on the West Street War.
Oh, of course, yes, that was a kill. So Yabadoo's not going to be part of this conversation, which kind of makes sense. So they're in a reserve at the moment. I'm trying to work out the actual on-field team value, which is actually almost
very difficult. I don't blame you.
If I've not messed up my calculations, they're actually separated by only 10 team value in terms of actual on-field teams. So the reserves for Mr. Inc., as you mentioned, are much stronger. As, oh, that's the first Kaiju on Kaiju combat. And it's not an armor break.
It's the value of the extra strength on the mummies, right? That's how you get the advantage. Because what we've seen for the most part is nobody's really been able to stand up to the Tomb Guardians, where the teams that might be able to have big guys, but there's only one big guy. There's still 4 Tomb Guardians you have to take on. There's only 2 mummies, but that's still way more than having one big guy that probably wild animals half the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's, that's the trade-off you make for having low agility and a bunch of really terrible players in the team, is you have these amazing Tomb Guardians. So we saw a 1 dice block there, of course. If you can get that 1 dice block onto a Tomb Guardian with no block, you probably take it, just for the chance of putting them down and activating that decay. I don't think the decay has come in so far this season at all. But when it does happen, it's going to be pretty spectacular.
It was rolled once. I remember the Curse of Ancient Grandma, where... Wait, does decay trigger on a break on a foul as well? I can't remember.
Yeah, anytime you get injured.
Okay, yeah, so there was a foul again. I can't remember who it was against now, but someone fouled Ancient Grandma, would have rolled the decay, only resulting in a KO, however. What happened then was Ancient Grandma woke up on the next drive, got an injury, and also MVP. So...
Yep. Don't mess with Ancient Grandma. Where is Ancient Grandma? So we're seeing a pretty solid setup here for the Khemri team. They brought 3 of their Tomb Guardians to face off against the Mummy Anchor, who really is a star player in the making if I've ever seen one. We will see
because most of these Tomb Guardians haven't quite got the levels they need, only 2 of them have guard, so it's kind of easy to poke away at the edges of some of these Tomb Guardian walls and just get equal levels on strength.
So that's a knockdown onto John Cena. We've got the return of one of the guard Tomb Guardians, so we will be seeing enough strength to push back the Mummy Anchor. Oh boy, I don't know what's going to give here, because we're going to have... I think we're going to continue to have our Kaiju battles between Tomb Guardians and Mummies for quite some time.
The line of scrimmage just hasn't changed. All that's happened is it's moved back 2 spaces to where OYBBL initially set up.
Ooh, that's a big hit for Magic Mike, though. Getting a takedown, but no injury. So let's go through a couple of the skills here. So we've got the plus strength Mummy. We've also got break tackle on Mummy the Mummy. So they might be able to pull off some sort of shenanigans. Especially because they don't have Loner.
Yeah, potentially. I can't remember the exact rules text on tackle. Advantage of having rule books open in a separate tab is you can actually just check. It's
so once per turn. It's once per turn you get to use your strength to dodge, so that's a 2+.
Yeah, that's shenanigans. I don't see it being particularly useful most of the time, but it can be used as a good positional tool. Also on a player with guard, so again, because that's a great positional ability to have, you can use it to maneuver around, get your Tomb Guardians and mummies in position where they can help out with other blocks on the pitch.
So unfortunately the block going sideways there for Hogdude Scott keeps him from advancing further, and it does mean we are in, finally, a no Tomb Guardian, no Mummy situation. So only a blitz will cause a hit to happen here. This real battle of attrition, while these mountains of... I would say mountains of flesh, but there's not very much flesh involved. These mountains of toilet roll fight each other. The rest of the team is kind of the ones which are taking the casualties, because they're the only ones who are really accessible to get clobbered.
Yeah, and we see here, this is sort of where Masterful shines, because he's the player who's basically designed all of his teams around this sort of play style, which is a case of, yeah, we'll brawl. We are the slow, aggressive team that will just hold you in place, surround you with all of our strong players, and just beat you mercilessly into the ground. And you can see they're sort of starting to get surrounded here.
I do not like this if I'm a Hogdude Scott. You're really just getting encircled, hit from multiple angles. The Mummies are doing their best to provide these incredible cage corners, which I don't know if the Khemri can even get past, but every turn that passes, there's less and less space on the pitch for Hogdude to work with. I mean, we haven't even talked about Scrappy Doo yet, who's the most incredible ghoul in the world, and I think probably the highest level player in the league.
No, you are right. He is the highest level player in the league. I checked this. Plus agility, plus block and sure hands means he's extremely good and safe ball carrier. Because he has Blodge, he's going to be hard to take down. Granted, only armor 7, so if he gets punched, there's a good chance he will be stunned or worse. But have fun getting to him and have fun getting him down in the first place.
Well, this makes me wonder, as much as this is looking bad for Hogdude, I wonder if this is some attempt to bring in the Tomb Guardians. I mean, right now, we can see they've only got movement 4, so if you can somehow get past them... Oh, of course, we get a little bit of a preview of what can happen to someone if they do think that way.
So the problem is, currently, not only is Scrappy Doo surrounded by the entirety of OIBBL, he's also surrounded by the entirety of his own team. So he doesn't have many spaces that he can actually move through to get out of this sort of mosh pit he's found himself in.
No, it's... Oh, well, Eyeless Eric, Skeleton, isn't get stunned there. But you're right, if you go forward, you're going to get just hit back again. Because we've got 2 guard players against 2 guard players. So... Oh... Okay. There is an opportunity for a hit here.
Let's knock out the corner.
Grandma!
Grandma?
Okay, it's alright. Grandma's okay.
So, to be fair, if they I don't know what that... It's a 1 dice with block, so that's actually okay. They can knock out the corner. They actually have a way through now. You can just run the ball up. Because, again, the Tomb Guardians have absolutely no movement whatsoever.
Oh, a little greedy there with the going for it. There is a reroll.
But it has to hurt.
Okay, safe. So, and goes for another one without a reroll, gets a 3. Wow, that's extremely bold.
There's some throw raws on the left of the pitch that are available that I think are in blitz range if he doesn't make those go for it. So this just gets him to safety, where now he can score next turn or the turn after, depending on what happens this turn. If Masterful sends players back, then it is likely to be his next turn.
So Magic Mike's come in. So we're going to be seeing a no-skill blitz onto the ball carrier who's got block and dodge. And it's, of course, going to turn it into nothing. That's
actually the first mistake I think I've seen Masterful make, in that if he makes the blitz with the... Oh, no, too fair. If he makes the blitz with the blitz rather than what happens is Scrappy Doo just gets pushed towards the end zone. So, weird, but... Probably correct. I don't know.
It's tough because this is Scrappy Doo. This is an AG4 ghoul, so they can pretty much dodge away from.
Wait, do they have a blitz on? What's the movement on that top white you see in the middle of the pitch?
This guy.
Yeah, if he's in range to hit the throw raw on the right of the ball carrier, then you can get that blitz off, and then Scrappy Doo just needs to make 1 dodge into unopposed territory, which should be a touchdown.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. We certainly got we've got Shaggy Rogers getting freed up, which would seem to be a fairly strong indication that they're going to get moved, and looks like the Tomb Guardians are going to get locked up. Yep, there's the blitz.
Exactly as prescribed.
It is a 1 dice blitz, though.
He pushed. To be fair,
no, it's okay.
If he does that, then you can
dodge away and then into the end zone, and there we go. One of the very rare sights in the Blood Bowl League. You hate to see it, as Hogdude has made their way into the chat just to drop that wisdom on us. One of the very rare things is that seeing Masterful scored against, and especially when it was done by punching their way through the Tomb Guardians.
Yeah, it's one of the advantages, because this is probably the first game where the Tomb Guardians aren't the strongest units on the pitch. I mean, they have been maybe matched out by big guys, but they're not like... Now they have against players that are numerous and also stronger. And it's a very terrifying prospect to play into, as we are set up for 2 turns left for Masterful, so he doesn't have the movement allowance to score, but he's probably going to just look for some trade back blows.
Alrighty. So, 1-0. We've got a couple of turns for Masterful. Khemri, definitely not known for their extreme running play here. I think they're going to struggle to score, but they will at least get a chance to get those Tomb Guardians in and start them maybe generating some casualties. So far, let's see. So we've got no Khemri casualties. We've got 1 KO.
Need to be careful, though, if you are Masterful, because Hogdude Scott does also have a turn, and he has his Strength 5 mummy right there, ready to make a blitz as soon as you expose some of your Tomb Guardians. So, interested to see how he sets this one up.
So, to touch back on which we kind of mentioned briefly earlier, the break tackle for Mummy there, I think that's possibly some of the reason why Mummy is not just kind of being marked by skeletons, as they would, we've already seen Masterful's Tomb Guardians, they do not have break tackle. They can easily be marked by a zombie or a skeleton. And while that zombie or skeleton probably won't survive the experience...
Okay, that actually completely ruins Hogdude Scott's setup.
Yes, it does. Oh, well, never mind.
Oh, wait, no! Scrappy Doo's right there. This could go horrifically wrong.
Oh, yeah, that's a very exposed-looking ghoul. Fortunately, he doesn't get taken out. But you're right, that was maybe a pretty major misstep.
I'm surprised he set up Scrappy Doo. He has spare skeletons. John Cena's right there.
I don't know.
Maybe he forgot to substitute players out, because it's not a thing you often have to think about in these sort of situations, but...
Well, I mean, I'm not totally sure. Maybe Hogdu can clarify for us since he's in the chat. Whether or not leaving off Yabadoo in the first half was an intentional choice because
he was receiving. You want your best ball carrier on the pitch while you're receiving. Whether you send him off now, it's going to be Masterful's reception. I don't know, but leaving Scrappy Doo on the pitch for this first drive, made absolute sense.
All right, so we're going to see the pickup, and
no, we're not. It's Khemri. They can't pick up the ball.
I always find Khemri really fascinating in that a game in which the Khemri fail to pick up in the first, when they go for the first pickup, it's so different from a game where they do just successfully pick up anyway, because a lot of the time they're never having to do that role again.
Yes.
Oh, no, Hoganator doesn't know how to set up, so that's how.
Fair enough.
All right, we see them swapping around players here, so definitely they've realised what's going on. So let's see, that's a dirty player.
Yeah, that's John Cena, the dirty player, famously known for being a dirty player.
Well, I mean, you haven't seen it, so it probably didn't happen.
Alright, so we're going to see a similar setup to before. It's probably going to be more traditional 5-star setup for Mystery Inc. here. They just want to keep the players in contention, but not on the line of scrimmage.
I thought for a second there we'd actually see the aggressive start, but getting a quick snap for Masterful would mean they get tons of extra blocks. It's still pretty aggressive. You could set up this line a lot further back.
Well, definitely because he's actually getting turns to punch back here, or at least play back into the Khemri side. This setup is fine. It's like, the only reason it looked bad last time is because he lost the turn in which he was going to be able to punch back.
Alright, so if we're Masterful, what we're looking for here? Probably to try and score as slowly as possible and get into extra time while inflicting as many casualties. Oh.
I don't know, actually. Because, again, the kickoff on their extra turn is a coin flip. These are teams that are very slow possession teams, that probably whoever receives the ball is likely to score. It's not ideal going into extra time, as it is basically then just a coin flip to win, so it might be one of the rare occasions where Khemri might have to just rush down to the touchdown.
Let's see, so first thing, securing the ball. Second thing, punch as many of the line of scrimmage players as possible.
This is the given. No matter what circumstances in, you always punch line of scrimmage.
Alright, so far it's been pretty forgiving for Hogdu's side. Only a stun after getting hit with... Actually, to be fair, there's only one mighty blow on the Tomb Guardian, so while they may look pretty scary, Magic Mike is actually the other threat in terms of realistically causing injuries. It does mean that the undead line is pretty intact, and it's only going to be Fred Jones getting knocked out of the way. Oh, and stunned for his troubles.
Yeah, so what I don't know how he plays this. Playing for the draw here is absolutely a thing that Khemri can do and are absolutely fantastic at doing, and if that's the choice Masterful goes for, he's almost guaranteed it. But that does mean you kind of coin flip on the extra time, and I don't know, as a coach, if that's what you want to do. Can Khemri rush down for the touchdown, and then can they force the ball back, is what I'm thinking right now.
It's tricky. I think there are some specific rules about who goes first in the, or who receives. I can't remember right now what they are, because I do remember reading a Reddit thread talking about how in playoff matches being either the kicker or the receiver was a pretty big advantage because you would then get the ball, you would then get to receive during playoff. But I think we both of us are a little puzzled about this. Maybe if Hogdude...
I saw the coin flip animation, so I assumed it was a coin flip, and now I'm desperately looking through the rulebook to see if I can find anything about it.
I mean, I could be totally wrong about this. Let's see. So what have we got going on? We've got the Khemri oh so slowly advancing down the pitch. They're going to get another shot on knocking over a couple of players. This time it's going to be another stun. The Mummies, of course, are eagerly awaiting first contact with the Tomb Guardians, and that's going to happen this time. So that's the Mummy of Anchor, the Strength 6 Mummy, who get a chance to clap back unless the Khemri commit in pretty heavily to their front line.
Alright. If the match is tied at the end of the second half and it is declared a draw, unless both coaches agree to go into sudden death overtime, or in this case you're forced to because we need a winner, flip the Blood Bowl coin to see which coach chooses who kicks off.
Oh, okay. I was totally wrong about that. Fair enough. Alright.
So there's your ruling, as we see now. More slapping of the ghouls, excuse me. Mighty Blood doing some work because it actually gets the stun on Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Magic Mike is the anti-ghoul player for Masterful. Anytime, as we said before, Hogdude's protection of the ghouls hasn't necessarily been total. At any time Magic Mike gets a chance to go after one of them with tackle, with Mighty Blow, I mean, they are the best hope for Masterful to take out those ball carriers, especially one as silly as Scrappy-Doo.
Alright, so here we see the Mummy's training blows again. It does go the way of the Mummy of Anchor, but unfortunately no permanent damage done. The way he's playing, I think Masterful is just going for the draw and just... I don't want to say he's coin flipping it, but I don't see a way of either side losing possession of the ball unless something goes horrifically wrong, so I think we might just be coin flipping into overtime.
Well, there's our first use of break tackle there as Mummy changes venue, but this isn't going to stop a return hit on the Mummy of Anchor over there. While I think this is actually a pretty masterful advantage. We're getting into a 3v1 situation against the Mummy of Anchor, whereas the other Mummy is way away from the action.
Like I said it before, this is what the Khemri side Masterful especially does best. Slow down the game, make the inevitable march up the pitch, stun the Mummy of Anchor because you really don't want to have to deal with that for the rest of the half. Go up the pitch, slow, short, steady, 8-turn touchdown, and go. I mean, it's a draw, but unfortunately we're not allowed to stick on a draw.
I could easily see this game turning into a fouling fest later on, considering how much of the team value is focused on these individual players. I mean, it's definitely more rewarding to go after a Tomb Guardian because of the decay, but I don't know, like, I mean, at this point, it's looking a bit like Hogdude Scott's team is falling apart, given that they've, a big part of their strength is now over on this side of the pitch where it just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's because most of their line is formed up with the zombies who are okay as space fillers, but they're not really good at holding lines. And that's sort of what they need to do right now, which is why they're sort of laid on their backs. And like you say, you go for fouls. There is actually a funny thing where they don't have Dirty Dave on the side of what BBL represent. He has Dirty Player, but on all of the broadcasts, I don't actually think I've seen Masterful make a foul attempt, yet alone actually succeed.
Yes, I think if there's going to be a time for it, it's going to be here and now, as uphill blocks against the Tomb Guardian Ancient Grandma. You should know better than to mess with her, but a reroll at least allows for a push.
Yeah, this is typical OIBBL gameplay right here. Slow, methodical, control the pitch, look for the opening, slowly march up, and until we see some real dents in this Mr. front line. Because to be fair, even if it has been on its back most of the time, it has been holding. Until we see it actually collapse, I don't think we're going to see this game speed up.
Yeah, I did think that maybe with the Mummy of Anchor getting stunned, there will be more progress down the pitch for Masterful, but they seem to be mostly occupied with trying, I think, to convincingly take out both the Mummies, which of course is going to put the nail in the coffin as, oop, there we go, there's the second stun.
Caster does it again, Mummy is stunned.
I mean, the game plan was, I think it makes sense.
Oh no, you're completely right. Just the timing was perfect.
All right, so there's so we haven't seen a ton of bad block dice from the Tomb Guardians so far. Both coaches on 2 rerolls, and yeah, this looks pretty rough. If Masterful's was waiting for the opportunity to move forward, this seems to be it. And there we go. There's the fouls coming in. They need to keep the mummies out of play, and they're going to try and do it whatever the costs may be.
I mean, they get a stun, which definitely keeps the Mummified Cat out of action and certainly out of punching effect onto these Tomb Guardians. So once again, the Tomb Guardians, the strongest units on the pitch, they will be able to maintain control of the middle. While who is that with the ball? Is that sure as hell Henry? He is sure as hell going to make this slow, exhonorable march up the pitch like he has done millions of times before. I say millions like there's only been 7 games in the league.
He's been playing a lot longer than that. The Henry, they're the originators of the game, I'm pretty sure.
Fair enough.
Sure as hell Henry's got block and dodge. So getting the ball back off of them seems like it's pretty much an impossibility as the undead team continue to crumble before our eyes. Notable as well, Dirty Dave going for the foul on Mummy of Anchor to put the stunning back on them. Wouldn't have made it without actually having the dirty player. So good invested as Shaggy Rogers gets KO'd off the pitch.
That's actually big. That's one of the better players, especially at line holding, which is what they need to do right now for Mystery Inc. Let me slap a Shaggy Rogers is KO'd. There we go. So
I hate
yeah,
to see it.
now he's gone. This entire left flank has sort of fallen apart. So now here come the skeletons. They're going to punch this last ghoul in the face. Just get him out of the way. Scooby-Doo, where are you? On the floor, writhing in pain. And
Oh boy.
then they'll spend the rest of their activations just slapping whichever zombie happens to be closest.
So this is a bit of an awkward situation for Masterful. I mean, it's pretty inevitable they're going to score here. The dam has broken.
Yes.
The undead team are now in full rout. The only problem for Masterful is that when they score here, they don't get the win. So the choice of, while they can go around and foul these mummies all day long, and I suspect that they probably will, like, they're not getting any closer to winning in these few turns they've got left.
So that's a question of can you score now? But then do you score now? Because again, he can absolutely drag this out to the end of the half. Try and play for that overtime, or he can try and score now and force possession of the ball back in 3 turns. I don't know if Khemri are a team that can afford to do that.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like either way here, Hog is going to get hit in. Hog's saying, who needs mummies? Exactly, no one needs mummies. Apart from perhaps this team to stay alive. I mean, the Tomb Guardians and the mummies, it feels like they've more or less neutralized each other.
Yeah, but unfortunately the ball is behind them, so the Tomb Guardians have done their job, where now the ball carrier is in front, and they can do whatever he wants.
Yes, I mean, we've got possibilities here. We've got a couple of good players at the back here who, do actually have some pretty good options here. So what are we seeing? A blitz over here to get rid of Bar and Beyond. Sure.
Oh, they get an injury. Not that it matters, because I think that is just a filler zombie.
It's very filler zombie. It's also regenerated.
Yeah, he's fine. Who cares? But you have sort of left those players, which, as you could say, absolutely make this blitz right now. Oh, never mind. He's doing the old, haha, joke's on you. I'm not actually safe at all. Oh, he's got 2 more players he can move. Yeah, just move the players down, stand in front of the ball carrier, and make sure he's safe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way Masterful does this without making sure there's 0 chance of getting onto the ball. We see the slow movement.
You can make dodge rolls. It's not 0.
That's true. Actually, I think was it Masterful or someone else? No, I think it was Masterful themselves who kind of put me onto this whole idea that even if you're in this kind of situation here where it's basically hopeless, you might as well try because in that 1 in 6 chance you do successfully dodge in and you get a shot at knocking over the ball carrier. That's a shot you would have not had otherwise. So
yes,
give it a go.
And in this situation where if the alternative is they score a touchdown. Well, like, if you succeed, you win the game, because the Henry can't pick the ball up. And the downside is, you might get downed in the process, you might roll an injury, but you're going to overtime anyway. Like, the chance of winning is very much worth the cost.
I'm kind of a little bit disappointed that duty wasn't given to Scrappy. Okay, no, never mind. Apparently Hogdude Scott did not receive this wise tutelage from Masterful, and decided to just go and try and punch poor old Grandma. Hogdude, what kind of monster are you?
Well, the alternative is to this is like that is such an unlikely play to make that if you're going to go to overtime, you might as well try and level the odds going into overtime. So try and like get one of these mummies KO'd or injured or something, and just try and maintain an advantage coming into overtime. Unfortunately, well, didn't happen. So the inevitable will happen. It will be the 8-turn BBL touchdown, and Scrappy Doo will not join the bench.
Oh boy. I mean, actually, I suppose that's one of the good reasons for not using Scrappy Doo for the Miracle plays. That armor value 7. As Classy Charles will roll a skull and get sent off into the KO box. I mean, that's significant if they don't come back in the second half.
To be fair, there's 2 rolls. There would be 2 rolls to make for the KO recovery, because they have Mr. Ink's turn now. Masterful will score, and then we'll go into overtime. We'll have a turn before we go into overtime, more to the point.
Alright, Dirty Dave won't be doing any more fouling, at least for now, as we will be seeing getting up from Scrappy Doo and allowing for another hit. Tomb Guardians yet to get taken out.
We might see foul here, actually. No, you can still foul with a blitz instead, fair enough. Blitzing is like fouling, except more risky.
Yes. You gotta try and get your ghouls out to safety here, and I think that's more or less being done. Sort of.
Yeah, he's safe.
I mean, that's the Magic Mike's the player you need to be watching, and they are otherwise occupied.
Yes, so they'll get the punch on the white and actually get an injury on Fred Jones.
Now that's actually a big one. Oh man,
Oh,
minus strength. Is it regen? It's not.
No. Okay, that's actually huge. Fred Jones, how for the game? And that is that's a white. That's one of the more important players on this undead side. So a good bit of damage done by OYBBL going to overtime. It certainly has favoured them based off this coin flip, because again, it's kind of a coin flip as to who gets possession, who's likely to score a touchdown.
Hoganator updating us that Fred may be playing for a different team next week. I mean, at least I suppose for all the players who could get effectively killed as a minus strength injury is for a white player, that a replacement white can still contribute something to the team.
Absolutely. Well, there he is. Minus strength kind of invalidates him as a white. 2 knockouts will remain, and the knockout on the side of Classy Charles and OWBL will, in fact, wake up. So, OWBL basically back up to full strength. To be fair, Mr. Ink are basically there outside of losing a white, so not too shabby. We're going to see the free turn of punching here for Hogdude Scott. Who will be the sacrifice? It's likely to be the skeletons, and we'll see what happens in overtime, because it's going to be a coin flip.
I'm still waiting to see if we can get any kind of lasting injury applied to the mummies. I mean, in a longer term league, you can maybe look at block, Mighty Blow, Parleon Claw players to deal with the mummies, but right now, there just isn't that much that can really make an impact. But
you have the Mighty Blow plus strength, and that's probably as good as you're going to get.
yes, not even any Parleon. How shameful. So, let's see. So, for Masterful, they've got the Fan Advantage modifier. They've got themselves Bloodwiser Babe. So, even if one of these Tomb Guardians gets KO'd, they're still pretty likely to come back. And an extra reroll for Camry, because why not?
They're not going to get a chance to use it. We're going to see exactly 4 punches and potentially 1 foul, and then we're going to go to overtime. Here's punch 1.
Hurrah! No. Very excited.
Punch 2. Nothing happens. See who takes punch 3, actually. It's likely to be, is that Scooby-Doo? Yep, that is Scooby-Doo. Who's going to take it? Only a push, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a little bit disappointing.
And now we see a foul.
No.
Oh, they have a blitz. Sorry, they have their blitz attack. I forgot about that.
You're not going to be fouling skeletons. You're not that far gone. Though, to be fair, I mean, Hogdude may find themselves...
You have the spare players. Fouling is fine.
I mean, he did come up with a lot of players. Oh, no.
Well, you're not even getting a chance to because it's both down and neither man even takes an injury. How disappointing. Let's go to overtime.
I think maybe... I mean, you're right. Hogdude has a deep, deep bench. So, well, I'd say if they weren't injured and or KO'd. Oh, there we go.
At least got the white back at least. Yeah, Shaggy Rogers has returned.
Yes, overtime keeps rerolls from second half, so that is going to matter that the kickoff result gave a free reroll.
Oh, okay.
And also, those rerolls will be used if it does turn into a penalty shootout.
Yes, but I don't think that happens because I genuinely think whoever's receiving it, I think it is actually Hogdude Scott on Mystery Inc. Whoever receives is almost guaranteed a touchdown. I don't say almost guaranteed, but it's extremely likely that he's going to be able to just shore up the ball because it plays into both team strengths, right? You take the reception, you shore up into a cage, you march up the pitch, and you score like that. The Khemri side is stronger on paper at doing that, but because you have access to white, you don't need to get as far, and you can afford to take some risks at getting the ball out of the cage and into scoring position.
All right, so yes, you're right. This is a pretty major advantage for Hogdude here. It feels like so much of this game lies in the hands of Magic Mike, that ghoul-slaying Blitzra, who is really the only person who can stand a serious chance of taking down these ghouls and stopping the score.
Yeah, because he's the one who could vaguely keep up with them. It's like movement 6 is like it doesn't keep him up with pace, but at least give him a chance. Also has Mighty Blow, which will absolutely shred the armor of these ghouls.
Oh,
that has... Okay, I don't know if that changes too much, to be fair. It lets Masterful set up his front line how he would like. Potentially sets him up to go around some of these these wing players. But because he only gets one blitz, I don't necessarily know that he gets too much advantage out of this turn.
Well, it does. I think it's going to give him a pretty good chance of taking over at least the right-hand side of the center, as much as the mummies hold the left-hand side. You get these Tomb Guardians in here now, and suddenly this entire side just can't move. That's because we've got multiple guards coming in, so they're all taking pretty terrible blocks, even if they get to hit back first.
Where are the guards on the side of Mystery? They're on the left. Yeah, this is going to be very awkward. We'll see how this blitz action goes. This could coin flip the entire line of scrimmage. And thanks to the tackle that Magic Mike has, Scooby-Doo, where are you? You're out on the dugout, badly hurt and missing the rest of this game.
All right.
So now it's down to Scrappy-Doo. He needs to be the miracle player here. Oh my lord.
All right. So let's see. Back down to 1070 TV for Mystery Inc. What looked like a guaranteed win is looking a lot less guaranteed, though. The mummies are doing a great job of ejecting those pesky Tomb Guardians who are obviously not invited to the line of scrimmage party.
So because they do swing first, Mystery Inc. are favoured on line of scrimmage, even if it's not as much as they would be going into the half. I get a stun. That helps a lot with the line, actually.
It would have been a KO.
So we'll see this line holds. They'll be able to bring the ball up, and from there, we're likely to see the sort of repeat of the first half where maybe it'll look like they're controlling the cage well, but as soon as one small gap opens, and it's very hard to close all of the gaps, as soon as one small gap opens, we're going to see Scrappy-Doo just bolt out of the cage and make the run for the touchdown.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to come for Hogdude in terms of traditional back and forth punching, because as we can see, even the side where Hogdude is strong with the two mummies is controlled entirely by the Khemri on the actual flank itself. So I don't see that working well. We've got Tomb Guardians down this side. We've got Pursuit coming in.
I don't like this from Masterful, actually.
No?
Because what you're doing is you're moving up the pitch, weakening your line of scrimmage to chase a movement 7, agility 4 player. You don't really get to catch him. He's going to run past you. You're going to lose the advantage you had on line of scrimmage. And from there, what's going to happen is, again, that small gap is going to open. Scrappy Doo is going to dash past you, and you're not going to be able to catch him.
Well, a failed block turns into a good... Oh my gosh!
What?
No! No!
No!
This isn't... Okay, it's fine. There's a regen.
What? What? I am shocked and concerned. This... Oh my lord. We've been going on for weeks about how absolutely godlike ancient grandma is. The curse of grandma has just been taken out of the picture. Classic Charles goes down as well.
What?
In one single turn, the entirety of the heart of OYBBL has just had claws ripped through its ribcage, pulled out while it's still beating, and thrown far away from this pitch as is humanly possible. I was saying, this is why you don't send your players off, because you lose control of the line of scrimmage. I didn't think it would go this badly so quickly.
That is crazy. Of all the times for that to happen in the playoff quarterfinals, man, Grandma as well was one of the best and brightest of this world. Not just of Tomb Guardians, of this world. And now, I mean, I guess you'll just have to keep cursing people from beyond death.
I don't think the curse matters anymore. I think the damage has already been done. Because now your line of scrimmage has fallen to complete pieces. You can see the gap on the right side. You might be able to send a Tomb Guardian over there, but then what's going to happen is Scrappy Doo's going to go, okay, your middle is now completely exposed. I'm going to run up there. There's not a thing you can do about it because you've lost control of the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty strong line up towards the mummies there for Hog Dude. That if they can just get through and get up there, yeah, there's no one left to really stop anymore. The charge forward. Coming in.
Oh, my lord.
So the Blitz is going to try and open up the space. We have the knock away for Handy Harry. Is also going to get stunned. Man, the dice have been real good to Hog Dude right now.
And with this block, get the knockdown, step forward to make space.
There's the space.
Yeah, he doesn't need to make dodge. Okay, you need to move this zombie out of the way just to give him the squares to move through. But now no dodge rolls required. Free all the way up the pitch, not all the way up the pitch into a safe cage. If you get this one knockdown, or even a push, that's good enough. Just get him off the corners of this cage. Move a player into cover the. Oh, you didn't need to do that. You have enough coverage there. You can't access the ball carrier, and now suddenly your backline has been decimated. I think Mystery Inc. have done it.
I don't know though. We've got an opening here. We've got Ancient Grandpa. I think might well be able to actually avenge Ancient Grandma with quite some speed. It's still going to be against a block dodge player, but this is for the game. Goes in, finds nothing, rerolls, finds nothing again. Only pushes Scrappy Doo closer to where they want to be, which is far, far away from these Tomb Guardians.
And that was your blitz action. So basically what happens now is, I believe that is that's rough, masterful. Oh,
well, that's important as well, because that means Smashmouth can now come in and provide an assist for Mummy to get a 2-die block to knock away.
He already has a 2-die block on this one, though. I know, to be fair, you want to knock away both to minimise dodge rolls. Well,
Grandpa!
Apparently, the floodgates have opened. The Tomb Guardians have been infallible all league long, but as soon as they enter playoffs, they just fall into literal pieces.
It's going to be another knockdown. Ancient Uncle going to hit the dirt as well. And also, oh my
Lord,
gosh!
what is going on?
Miss next game.
There is
Wow.
no next game. There is no next game. Mystery Inc. on the back of 2 injuries, 1 death and 1 knockout will run Scrappy Doo all the way up the pitch and have guaranteed themselves the semi-final spot in the playoffs.
Wow. I never thought I'd see it happen, but yeah, it's like, I don't even see a miracle. There's just nothing. There's nothing left for Masterful after winning all but one of their games, not losing a single game. Now in playoffs, because of the explosion which we've been waiting for all season long. These Tomb Guardians fall to pieces. There's nothing left, and as we found out from the previous game, as soon as that score comes in, this is done. We have got a dodge and a blitz and a knockdown from Eyeless Eric.
Wait. Okay, it's just a knockdown. The ball lands there. Game is okay. I genuinely thought it was out of range. My apologies.
It looked impossible.
Yes.
Okay.
They have a skeleton on the ball. It's not ideal, but at least they've delayed the inevitable, so you could potentially rescue it. You needed to make that go for it, but unfortunately, no such luck.
Okay, so you've got reinforcements arriving. You've got your mummies, who of course are not currently murdered.
And also, I know mummies are only movement 3. They are worse than Tomb Guardians in that aspect.
They are not going for it.
Double go for it. Oh.
You're not. I think at this point you're probably moving Yabadoo to provide the support and blitzing with Scrappy Doo, pushing away.
I think you're right as well. It makes
the ball.
no sense.
I mean, you've got tons of time. You don't need to do anything crazy here. Like, even if you just push away and don't, like
that's the final result. Don't follow up. Pick up the ball. You might even. Oh, he doesn't have the movement. You can step back then and just put the ball in cage. Yeah.
Yep. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's, you talk about the edifices that Masterful put together in the league, being the player to beat, and how it's all turned to sand now. It's, it's almost a bad joke, the idea that it comes down to just skeletons coming in trying to stop the tide of undead to the end zone. And of course, they're not up to the task.
Yep, so now with that desperation block attempted, the field's now completely clear. Scrappy Doo, the MVP of Mr. Inc., will finally bring the ball in. The scoreline, unbelievably, 2-1 to Mystery Inc. over OYBBL represent. Congratulations, Hogdude Scott. You've made your way to the semi-finals. So, I'm still not over that. What happened to that game?
Hogdude was the number 8 seed. They had to fight to even be in the playoffs at all. For them to come in and take down the number 1 seed in the quarterfinals is absurd. But it happened. You saw it here live. Well, I say live. This is all happening in the...
You saw our reactions live.
Yeah, so you get to see our traumatic experience live, at least. Honestly, Masterful is gone from the playoffs. But more upsettingly, is Ancient Grandma is gone as well.
That's true. The amount of damage that Ancient Grandma managed to put onto so many teams in this league, most of whom are actually in the playoffs, to be fair. That's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of work one player has done. And now that player gets killed, and because of it, has lost the game. And I do say, the point where Masterful decided to send his players to try and make a blitz, exposing his Tomb Guardians finally, letting the superior mummies punch in, that's when the game went to pieces for him.
Hoganator wishes they could take it back. No, Hoganator, you can never take it back. When you go for those blitzes, when you try and get those SVP, you take a player's life into your hands. And the baby bird, the beauty, the majesty that was Ancient Grandma snuffed out by possibly the worst person in the league. Hoganator, you should be ashamed, but at least you get to be ashamed in the semi-finals.
Sure.
I'm mad, Kirby. I'm mad. I'm not going to take it anymore. That's right, Hoganator. You hold your head in your hands. You know what you did. You broke something beautiful and irreplaceable, and the world will never be the same, apart from the 3 different duplications of this team that Masterful has with exactly the same players. Apart from that, then we'll never see its like again.
Dude, Scott, I would just like to say congratulations on making semi-finals. You played that game really well. Moving on.
You're a monster, but you're a monster who better go and win on the whole freaking thing, Hog Dude. Otherwise, I'm going to be very upset. Okay, with that done and dusted, and Khemri, Obai BBL represent Masterful, the top player of the league, reduced to that self-same dust. We have only one more playoff match before we have fully filled out the semi-final stage. Kirby, who could follow up a performance like that?
Well, after a complete utter brawl fest at the last game, it makes sense that we can only go in a complete other direction. So we have the high agility showcase match. Fourth seed Jorvik Jets have looked to start off weak, but have managed to stretch and claw their way up to the fourth seed via some outstanding, amazing technical play. Staring against them is the Dark Elf team that has performed extremely consistently throughout the season. It is Gemini's last-minute team name. That will be our final game of the evening and the final semi-final decider. Please don't go anywhere.
Hello once more, friends and Hoganator. Welcome back to the playoffs. We've seen the greatest tragedy of this Blood Bowl age happen, as Ancient Grandma and Masterful have exited the tournament in quite permanent fashion. Congratulations, Hog Dude. May it taste like the bitter ashes of Ancient Grandma in your mouth. But enough about that. Don't worry, Hoganator. I'll still be thinking about it the whole way through. Kirby, just to try and get those bitter ashes out of our mouth, as you mentioned, we've got ourselves an agility palette cleanser to end out the playoffs here. Very different teams, very few giant walking statues on either team.
Yes. On one side, we have the Conjura Skaven team, the Jorvik Jets, who had a bit of a rough start. They had I can't remember how bad they were, but they managed to dip I think it was like draw, lost in their first 3 weeks. We had like mentally written them off as a team, and then slowly but surely we sort of see them claw their way up into the playoff bracket, and they managed to end up as the 4th seed off the back of some outstanding individual playmaking, including a miracle one-turn touchdown out of, I believe it was Sven Verminfur. Like, they have played exceptionally well all league long, and they have managed to pull out the results for it. On the other side, we have Gemini's Dark Elf team, last-minute team name. 4th victim to Masterful, as has been noted. Oh no, there's the last victim of Masterful.
Yes.
But the thing that happened most importantly is Masterful took his pound of flesh with him, managed to kill off a blitzer. So, last team has been a team that's been performing exceptionally well, has been in, I want to say, in top 8 for the entirety of the playoffs, to be fair to them. They have played consistently well, just haven't been amazingly flashy, but have sort of been hamstrung in the last couple of weeks with loss of one of their key players. But aside from that, they are a fairly standard Dark Elf team. You have your blitzers, you have a runner, you have a bunch of linemen, you have high agility, you have high movement, and you're just trying to put it all together into some amazing touchdowns.
Alright, so let's see how that last game goes. So, I'm going to be using Paint.net during this game to construct us a bracket. So, by the end, it will be something beautiful, and Hogganator and the other folks watching, you'll be able to find out our semi-final matchups. Right now, it hasn't been finalised exactly what's going to be happening with the finals. We're hopefully going to be able to bring it to you live in some form next week, as well as the semi-final matches off of the replays.
Sorry, the Jet Stadium's named the Ooze. It just works so well.
Oh, yeah.
For the initiated, the Ooze is the river in York.
Ah, okay, I thought it was just a generic Skaven biochemical ooze, but
No.
that makes sense too.
But as a name, it just works perfectly. So
Right.
here we go. Jets versus last-minute team name final game to decide who makes it to the semi-finals of the NUEL's Blood Bowl League.
I think Gemini and the last minute team name, they have been doing very, very well towards the end of the season, but they haven't been able to really develop specialised players. They've got a ton of block around the place, though, one less since Masterful, as you noted, managed to successfully murderize a blitzer who comes with block. I think there's a decent amount of punching power for the Dark Elves, which they'll have over the Skaven, who, in this case, don't have a Rat Ogre.
Yes. These elves are not specialised, but they are relatively powerful within themselves. You have 3 blodges and 3 blocks. You also have an extra reroll benefited to you by the leader skill, so you can utilise that to sort of leverage your either high agility playstyle, or you can just go for this sort of ground and pound with your blocks. You don't have necessarily the star players like the gutter runners, but you can just sort of win out by just having better players overall. On the other side is more, the Jets have these specialised players where they have one with block sidestep, one with strip ball wrestle, and another with wrestle dauntless of all combinations. Like, these players are very good at one thing or like a select situation of things, but in terms of just having the overall power of like a block and a dodge affords you, then maybe not as outstanding. So interesting to see how that sort of playstyle comes up, because you are not going to get too much value out of a Wrestle Daunt. Well, I mean, you get value out of Wrestle, perhaps, but not necessarily out of the Dauntless.
Well, the big thing for that is to be able to equalise the strength disparity that otherwise the gutter runners would have to suffer under. But I don't know, I kind of like having 2 different ball-sacking gutter runners here. It's a big contrast from the other Skaven team, where, you know, everyone was just block and dodge, so you kind of do one thing very well. Whereas here, with a few more levels behind, you suddenly got that many more options, and if we do see a reorganisation very early on, the perfect defense.
Yeah, they're not looking to play this line of scrimmage. The Jets realise they are not the strongest team at punching in this matchup, so it's going to go, okay, we are going to go around you, and we are going to go around you fast, because they are Skaven, and that's what they do.
Yeah, notable is Gunnar Plague Master, so normally you think putting a gutter runner up on the line of scrimmage is a very, very risky proposition, and it somewhat is, but when you've got the blodge step, as it's called, that's right, we're getting deep into terminology.
We're not getting deep into terminology, we're just mashing words together and hoping they stick.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't come up with that one. That's definitely a pre-existing thing. But with sidestep, when you don't knock over the Plague Master, then they're just going to creep ever closer to the ball until eventually you look up and realize that what you thought were having for breakfast was some delicious cereal, but instead it's cheese. Oh, never mind. Plague Master's going to get kicked in the face.
Yep, he will sidestep backwards, and this is going to be the infamous elf cage of all situations, where they're going to use it to delay a few turns while they get a few players deep, set up for a passing play, and while that's happening, the Skaven are really going to struggle to get access to the ball.
So some stuff we haven't mentioned as of yet, as we've got Calrel there, getting a pretty heavy hit in. Excuse me if I sneeze a second.
Sure.
So we've got multiple Blodge players, block and dodge. We've got a guard lineman as well. The Dark Elves, they're pretty well set up here to win the punching game if it goes long enough. I think these wrestle gutter runners are going to have to come in some capacity to try and take the ball away, or eventually the Dark Elves are just going to beat the Skaven into the ground.
Yeah, but the problem is, you have the wrestle to take out a few of the corner pieces, perhaps. You need to get access to the ball carrier, and that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So what's more likely to see is they'll send a few players in front of the cage just to sort of knock a few pieces around. But what we're going to see is more Skaven dealing with the targets for the passing plays that might come through. Is actually, with that injury that takes out a corner piece, they might be able to get to the ball carrier. And not this turn, obviously, it's going to be an elf turn to get in between that, but it's going to definitely irritate their defense setup they have. But the rest of the players are going to play the pitch and stop the passing opportunities.
So Caroline, the current ball carrier for the Dark Elves, so doesn't have sidestep like poor old Gunnar Plague Master who's been knocked over 2 turns in a row, but has got handoff. Oh no, sorry, dump off. Which means that even if the Skaven do manage to get onto the ball carrier, there's a very, very good chance the ball just gets passed back to one of these blitzers, especially one of the blitzers who's got block and dodge behind, making it even harder to get rid of.
Yeah, so again, going for the cage is A, extremely hard for the Skaven to do, B, not that rewarding, so we'll see them play the entirety of the pitch like the Elves are trying to do.
Oh, Janabi, welcome to the stream. Your first time getting streamed. Yes, we can only apologise. I think there were a couple of teams. We looked back at the list of teams that we streamed and realised, oh wait, we've never streamed this team, or we've only streamed them once all season. I think that definitely wasn't deliberate on our part. It was just, I think, just the times when we would have been streaming that maybe the particular match was, there just wasn't time in the schedule, or you got another match of the same races playing. So, Gemini, I'm glad we eventually managed to get you on stream.
We did the last minute team name a week 4. The notes could be wrong, to be fair, but
they've been wrong before,
and they will be wrong again because we are making them. They'll get us even around the back onto the ball carrier, but it's not a blitz action, unfortunately, so they're just looking to irritate more than actually get value.
Yes, there was a double going for it to even get to that point. So there we go, that's the blitz, there's a dump off, it's going to fail, and the ball goes right back into Vermin Fur's hands, drops back down, and and as it turns out, it was going to be a double skulls on the ball carrier anyway.
So, I mean, the ball isn't an amazing place for the Jets, unfortunately. Sort of see that it can bring a few players across to it, so they'll be able to hold the ball again, and whether they have a passing target is what I'm looking out for now, because that's what the Elves want to do. If they knock out Plague Master, I think that is, get him on the floor, he can bring the elf next to him down after receiving the pass, that could actually just be in touchdown range.
Oh,
that does require you to pick up the ball in the first place, and failing a 5 out of 6 is not a good look. There we go.
Okay, that's the reroll burn, but Gemini does have
handoff.
It has a good amount of rerolls. That's a successful handoff without a reroll. Yeah. Okay, and it's gonna be. Oh no!
Oh wait, you just burned your reroll.
Okay, so.
Oh no!
This could be the time for the ball sacking gutter runners to come in, because there's space to provide the assists. There's the Dauntless. There's yay. Okay, that almost went very, very badly, but there's space. Yeah, bring in an assist, bring in the Dauntless player, and you've got a 2-die block on the ball carrier.
That is. He was in scoring range, wasn't he? I'm not making that up. I.
Oh, it's strip ball as well, so even if the blitzer gets hit here, there's a good chance the ball goes off the pitch. It's...
Wrestle, gets the ball that down, out to... I mean, are still space controlled by the elves, but then you can at least bring some Skaven down to try and contest it at least.
You've not got a reroll anymore, so I think you can still... I think you probably surround the ball with gutter runners and then you try and pick it up.
Yes, you do that anyway, just in case. Because even like if there isn't an adjacent elf, it's still extremely risky to pick that up just by having it nearby. So now the ball is back into safety. And what should have been a guaranteed touchdown for the last minute team, just completely fallen apart in one turn.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of having these players who can deal with the ball carrier. Yes, Gemini, it's quite possible when we change channels to my personal channel rather than the NUEL channel, that's when it got lost in the shuffle. But hey, at least at least you made it all the way to playoffs, so we did get another shot here. As the Dark Elves, they're trying to set up to try and push this game back into being a more punching game by engaging the front line of the Skaven, but we can see there's a path out through here, and that's going to attempt to be shut off.
There's actually, depending on where this elf goes, they might just be able to play to the right as well. Depending on how the blocks go for the Jets, they might actually be able to get the ball loose next turn. Because all of those elves that are contesting this sort of ball carrier area right now are in tackle zones. So they can get punched, they can go down, and if they go down, they've left space. And that's exactly what the Skaven need.
So it's block, and that is going to be a space opened up. Now, there are still a lot of very solid Dark Elven players left in consideration. There's the push away. There's no safety out here, but it may be, yes, falling back rather than moving forwards.
Yeah, because that was a push and not a knockdown, you can't move the ball forwards. And judging by the way the line was going, it's better just have that player in safety rather than exposed to 2 or 3 Ls potentially. So a safer option taken here by the Jets. They have a bit of time to work with still, so they're not too worried yet, but need to start getting the ball pitched sooner rather than later.
Alright, some dodgy shenanigans means some of the Dark Elf players are getting a little bit caught out here towards the edge of the pitch. Of course, these blodging blitzers are always going to be a huge pain to actually knock down, as much as the gutter runners have been getting knocked down with some regularity so far, and looks like they're not the only ones.
Yep, that'll be a stun. Does that open up the pitch? So they're knocked down here. I'm just trying to think how they can advance some of these elves to at least get in front of the cage. Because that's the plan right now for last minute team over looks a bit, considering how far they've advanced all of their players. So they're going around the back as well. They're just looking to cause as much damage onto these Skaven as they can, using the fact that they have better stats, few better skills in some circumstances. Just going out. They actually opened the cage. I didn't see that. Fair play to Gemini.
Yeah, that was pretty nice, though. Unfortunately, the ball doesn't bounce where you want it to be.
Excellent plan, though. I approve wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and doing that without a reroll as well. I guess the reroll was burnt because it wouldn't have been possible otherwise. So we've got, what? We've got 4 elves. We've got 4 Skaven around the ball. Everyone's looking for a party.
The problem is, it is also the Jets' turn, so they control how these blocks go, and it's almost certainly going to go bad for the elves.
Yep. Ooh.
He just woke up. That's unfortunate.
Yes, I mean, that's the best of what was inevitably going to be a bad situation for Gemini there. But even if the gutter runner with the ball is not going to move this turn, something that we've mentioned before is deeply lacking for the Dark Elf team at this point is ability to efficiently deal with the block dodge players.
To be fair, no, I can't even say anything about that. You do need to just roll a defender down, and that's going to be extremely hard to do when there are so many rats just stood around the ball carrier. You need to pick away at the angles on the players without block, without dodge, whatever you can take, and try and just chip away at the corner so you can get to the ball carrier without leaving enough space that they can just break through.
Okay, so it's looking pretty dicey. I mean, we have got a Dark Elf who has got the ability to blitz the ball carrier, but
whether they can get good dice on the ball carrier is a different question entirely.
Yes, it's... I mean, so we're going to get the ability to at least negate some of that as...
They need a pushing result so they can get the guard player next to the ball carrier. This is the best one they can get. So now they'll stand up there and then probably blitz with the downed player or someone else. I'm trying to think. To be fair, that downed player has block, so this is relatively safe. It's not going to get the ball, but at least could have gone their way.
Yes, I mean, there's been a lot of successful hits onto the gutter runners, which honestly you kind of feel like have gone against what certainly has been the experience a lot of time when facing against the blodge players, which is whenever it's really important.
Oh, wait a second. There's no tackle zones on the right of the ball carrier who has dodge. What I'm thinking is he just runs.
Yep. I think he's going to be well away.
Yeah. To be fair, there's not much that German I could have done about that. There's like all of your players with the left of the ball carrier already. The handoff goes awry. Okay, he doesn't manage to convert it. And now because this is Skaven, they make the handoff, they can run the entire length of the pitch, and I think he's actually in touchdown range if he wants to make go for it. One space off.
Yes, I think just a little bit short there, but that has burnt through all of Conadura's reroll. So remember, this game is very far from being over. This is just a first advantage as... Ooh, hello.
Ooh. Okay, that could be impactful.
That's a significant play. That was K-roll. That's a blodge... Actually, a blodge lineman, of all people.
Fair enough. But it's a KO, and there's going to be 2... That could be bad. Jock is just a generic lineman, though, to be fair. I think that's the minus armor lineman, actually. So he's definitely the lineman you want out if you're taking a lineman, but...
I'm kind of surprised that the Skaven haven't taken more incidental casualties at this point, given how low their armor is overall.
Also true.
Yes, there we go. Plague Master's been knocked over 3 times already and hasn't even taken as much as a stun.
Yeah, he's a very powerful rat, what can I say?
Oh, are we going to see a foul here?
What is not? This is a win and in game. If you could take out one of their players, so be it. But you are coming into this second half at a disadvantage. You need to level this out as best you can. The best way to do it is taking out a rat permanently. Unfortunately, not going to happen, but the foul attempt was definitely worth.
Oh man, that was incredibly risky though, because
it's not that risky. Like you
roll doubles on either of those dice and you lose a blitzer for the rest of the game.
Okay, maybe it's risky to use a blitzer, but you need to get an advantage because you are going into this at a disadvantage. You need to score next half. The best way to do that is to make sure you have the man advantage, and the way you get a man advantage, or at least one of the ways to get a man advantage, is by getting that foul off.
Well, because we're in a situation here where so many of the good players for both teams have both block and dodge, something I was curious to see if we'd see in this game was actually targeting the non-important, or less important players, let's say, because they're the ones you can actually knock down.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the dodge does not come through. That's going to be the turnover for the Jets. They're just using all their turns just to try and make sure Gemini doesn't get a 1-turn touchdown, a 2-turn touchdown opportunity, so it will be forced onto that 1-turn play. No!
Ooh.
Gemini stopped, didn't they? KO, not... I mean, it could be good if he fails 2 wake-up rolls, but... Wait, no, he only makes 1 wake-up roll. This is Conadura's last turn. So it would be the half. Ooh, okay.
Well, given that Conadura did steal away the ball, this does at least mean that it means that there's going to be 1 less roll to get the KOs back.
Sorry, Conadura received this half, didn't he? Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, this is really bad for last minute team. They need every advantage they can get right now, because currently they're set up to kick Conadura the ball right back. The Jets can run away with this game given the opportunity. And they are being given the opportunity in this second half. So Gemini needs to get some damage done here.
Oh man, that's not a good foul. All of those assists are getting negated, but it does turn to a stun. There's no doubles there as well, but I don't know. It makes you very, very uncomfortable that it's not lineman being used for that.
Right, the Jets will get the score in. It was kind of inevitable. He was left on there contested for 2 or 3 turns. Now it's just a question of, can last minute team they make this one back? They're kicking the ball. They need to get the ball in their hands and score it, and then either score again or coin flip into overtime.
Yes, I mean, let's see. So we'll have to go back and reassess where the teams are right now, because there have been a few casualties coming in. So we've got the 2 two injured Lime Rats. It looks like we've got 2 KO'd players who don't come back. So if we do get a KO recovery here, and we do, the Dark Elven team actually managed to come into the second half with a fairly significant field presence advantage and, of course, punching power advantage.
Yeah, so this is a good opportunity for them to at least try and knock the ball back into their control. That's going to be... I know that is one of their permanent rosters that's currently injured.
Yeah, so currently operating on 1250 TV are the Dark Elves. Yeah. For the Jets, they should have a lot more.
Yeah, I've been marking them out properly. So Jock Harvard is out, as is Ivar Slice Scratch. That's 2 linemen gone, as well as Guttermange and Rathbones knocked out. So some pretty important players, actually, because that's one of your throwers, as well as one of your ball-stripping gutter runners. So...
It's, I guess, well, of the gutter runners to have knocked down, that's probably the one which you want. At this point, you're probably not so worried about getting the ball back off of the Dark Elves unless it's going really, really badly.
It's still a gutter runner. It's still one of the more powerful units the Jets have access to.
Well, the most important one, I think, going into this half is going to be Plague Master. That block, dodge, sidestep is going to be incredibly hard to deal with because of how the sidestep punishes you for even trying to actually hurt them.
I've seen this before. Mm-hmm. This could be a one-turn setup. I don't know if a one-turn is good here, but they could do it.
Let's see. So if the ball bounces off the pitch, that's super bad for the Dark Elves. It doesn't. So we've got a ball pickup next to the edge of the pitch. If this is a failed pickup, which is unlikely, but it's possible.
They're not going... Are they? I don't know what they're doing. They're just slapping line elves.
They're actually pushing them closer to the ball.
I don't know their range, actually. Yeah, this isn't a one-turn setup, I think. This is just I'm going to get pitch control and dash some gutter runners up the pitch. Or this set up to dash some gutter runners up the pitch and score very quickly.
Okay, so pickup goes okay. This is a wrestle player, though, so they're much more vulnerable to getting taken out. It looks like it's going to be a pass. That's fine. So
and the handoff. I don't know if it's a one-turn, but it's definitely a very far up the pitch in a turn.
I don't know if I like this, though. There's only going to be minimal protection for Plague Master. In fact, there's not going to be any protection for Plague Master up the pitch. This is literally going to come down to a dice roll. Are they within range?
I think they are, but they have to make... Oh no, that player woke up, never mind. They have to make 2 dodge rolls at least, I'm fairly sure, to get in range.
So being on the side of the pitch when you're a sidestepper is obviously not... Well, for any of you guys who are unaware, when you have sidestep, when you get pushed back, you get to choose where you go, so you can never be pushed off of the pitch, even if you're standing directly on the sideline, which is normally an open invitation to do such a thing.
Yep, so we'll see... Oh, okay, never mind.
You could
he has to go for it, and he fell.
You could have gone for a 1 dice block there, though. Oh, no, got it, okay. Oh, wow!
No, because you need the blitz. You don't care about the 1 dice. You need that block on Plague Master to make sure he drops the ball. And, of course, the stun is a good result to get off that as well. So the last minute team have salvaged this play. They have control of the ball. They have enough players around where it's unlikely. I say unlikely, it's the Jets. They can do some nutty things. It's unlikely they get the ball back.
Yes. Well, I mean, I guess as much as maybe I was being dismissive of the ball sacking gutter runners, they're absolutely going to be very, very important now. So Sven Verminfur moving up, providing an assist to allow for the Skaven to get some center controllers. Oh, wow.
That's healthy. That's a block line, I'm fairly sure. So that's an injury and another one. Oh, wow.
What?
Okay.
Okay, wow, we're going to struggle to keep up with that. So the block guard lineman who's been taken out. A regular lineman and Tabnal, so that's 2 vanilla linemen and the best player on the team removed as the dodge goes sideways. Oh my gosh, that's just giving the ball back to the Skaven.
Is that a rerolls? Oh no!
That
Wait,
was a
he's not
double
real?
one.
Oh, I didn't. Oh,
That's the 1 in 36 chance of happening, and that means the ball's wide open for the taking. What a heartbreaker for Gemini after managing to pull off that ball recovery to lose it instantly.
that is like I like the Jets. They're a great team. They deserved a better win. Like, it feels bad that they win like this, you know, where it's just they managed to randomly get 2 injuries and then they get their turn back on a 1 in 36. It feels bad.
I mean, this is the thing of the playoffs, but it's only best of 1 in the playoffs. Gemini said, "This is the turn you said GG." I mean, it's
it's understandable because what happens now is the Jets don't even score here, right? They just cage up the ball. Any elves that stand up get punched in the face. Anyone that comes close to the ball carrier probably has to make 3 or 4 dodge rolls, and then hit the ball carrier into probably 2 dice against.
well, I mean, there's one player who doesn't, and that's Neutral here. Who's
I think
going...
who's there actually? Oh, but he has dodge, so you need to re-roll it and it doesn't matter. Sidestep just away. And then what happens here is the rest of the Skaven come in and knock that player down, delay for another turn. Just delay as long as possible, basically, because even if he loses control of the ball, he's still 1-0 up. Like, he can just stall his game out for as long as possible, then score the touchdown, and then suddenly last minute team member has to score twice.
Yes, I mean, I think... Well, I kind of feel like at this point, as much as there's a lot of turns left on the clock, at this, if you score here, the chances of Gemini outside of some truly ridiculous kickoff results scoring again are minimal, but it looks like not even going to take that chance. It's going to be a surf off the pitch. There's no mercy from Conadura here at all. They don't want to even take the chance that somehow kickoff results will end up screwing them up.
Yep, they are taking no chances. Player goes off the pitch, another turn burned off the clock. The chances for last minute team name are already slim, but they are decreasing by the second. It's not a pleasant experience to watch, but...
As well, like, particularly disheartening is to have the ball be on a sidestepper, meaning that, a lot of your usual avenues for success are just don't exist anymore. You can't get them off the pitch, even if you, mark them, or even, manage to get a blitz on them somehow, you're still likely not accomplishing anything. As we saw there, even a dodge into 1 tackle zone was too much this time round.
Yeah, I like the attempt though, because that is the way you salvage this game. Knock out the ball carrier, get the ball off the pitch, hope for a good bounce. I feel like that's like really disingenuous to say, but that's the only way it comes back to them, is if it bounces off the pitch and then lands somewhere more favourable for them. Because right now there are 6 rats surrounding the ball carrier. There is no safe way an elf can get in.
Oh man, for this to... Okay, yes, but now we're going to get the fouls coming in, of course, as well. This is very much expendable, so that's going to be a stun for a send-off. Oh, there was a bribe brought in, okay.
That explains everything.
Oh wow, that didn't take long.
He's like, that's the only way you're salvaging this game. You might as well do it immediately, because the rest of the turn does not matter. Those elves are actually in perfect position if that play somehow works, like in the middle of the pitch, because, again, if the ball somehow comes loose, those are the players you want to be getting hold of the ball and scoring. So now the elves are actually sort of making progress. The Skavens go, nah, we're out. We're going to move to the middle of the pitch. Cage, supermassive cage, I believe is the technical term for what's about to happen. And from there, free game.
Oh boy. I mean, and when you've got that sidestepper next to the touchdown zone, the end zone, your attempts to get the ball back most likely just cause them to score.
Yes.
I mean,
it's a slow, inevitable possession, not unlike something we would see out the Khemri squads, but it's going to happen at some point. It's just a question of when now, and at this point I have to believe it is going to be that 16th turn.
Yeah, I mean...
Just style on and run back, run across.
So what have we got left on the pitch? We've got... I think we've got theoretically equal numbers of players, but yeah, now that the period of time in which the teams are kind of embroiled together is pretty much passed, the extra block and things for the Dark Elves is another desperation attempt is made, and only results in a stun. But yeah, I mean, that time when all that block is really going to do you too much good I think it's quite firmly passed.
Oh, absolutely. So now we'll see the blitz just to make sure these elves do not encroach on the ball carrier further. This is all just by the stuff at this point. It's just delaying. Go for that. Wait for the 16th turn. Score the touchdown. Give Gemini 1 turn to score 2 touchdowns.
So I'm going to try and find a way we can sort of pivot here a little bit, because I think both of us are feeling pretty freaking bad for Gemini in this game.
Yeah. Like, it's a guaranteed outcome. Just, okay, the ball's on the floor. Oh, wait, no, he's still a point up. Never mind. It doesn't even matter.
Let's see, what have we got?
Rough.
We've got a line of Dark Elves. It is possible to get hold of that ball. You're going to go for it now. Okay, you're going to fail. It would have been possible to get hold of that ball, to pass it, hand off, and score.
Yes. But
and I commend Gemini for trying it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the odds of doing so are astronomically stupid. Like, stupider than the incredibly stupid antics we saw in the first game of the evening. So now as the ball's in the end zone, it's the 16th turn. It's just a question of who do you want to give the SPP to. And they're going for a blitz first.
Okay, so Blitzer. I mean, at this point, yes, it's pretty much secured for the Jorvik Jets into the playoffs. Actually, speaking of, I realised I didn't do what I promised, which was to make a playoffs quarterfinals graphic. So I'm just going to quickly do that.
Well, we're going to have the commiseration turn for last minute team name here. They have 1 turn to score 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's technically doable, he says. Like, there could be a riot into a 1-turn touchdown into a riot into a 2-turn touchdown, which is possibly the most likely outcome, but that involves 2 riots, and the riot is already an extremely rare kickoff result in the first place.
You just gotta believe.
You call me a sin sister, Mr. Counterfeit. I do not believe.
Well, you see, that's what keeps you back. I mean,
that's why I'm on the casting couch and not in the league itself.
I mean, to be fair, I am as well, so I can't really hold that against you. All right, everyone's gonna be extremely impressed by the level of amazingness that's coming up from the brackets that should be coming out. But yes, I mean, you've got to keep on hoping, don't you? As much as you can say this game has hurt me, I'm not going to hope anymore. You've got to keep trying as the final insult arrives.
It's over. That is the game. Because even if last minute team names score now, they don't have another turn in which to score the other touchdown they need. So I'm fairly sure College Heroes passed there, to be fair.
Oh no, they definitely did.
Well, now it's just a case of how much flesh does Gemini take back? 1 knockdown, no injury. 2 knockdown, no injury. 3 knockdown, no injury. Foul, pass. Just yeet the ball down the pitch just for the sake of it. Well, SPP on the players. And here comes the foul. The dramatic kick. It's a stun. That's all we're getting. That feels like such a small payoff at the end. Jorvik Jets, off the back of one ridiculous roll of the dice, end up in a 2-0 victory. Like, to be fair to them, as soon as the trip happened, they just completely shut the game out perfectly. There was not an inch last minute team could take that didn't involve rolling 5 dice on 4 pluses on all of them. They played that perfectly at the end, but it just felt so bad to watch.
Yes, I mean, that's the thing. All of these victories, all of these results which have brought us to the top 4, which we'll have up for you guys in a second. Let's see, is this the right one? No, it's not. They all come at some other team's expense. There we go. Here's the top quality playoff brackets. I'll move it onto the screen that you can see just so you can enjoy it It's not
Yes.
even meme worthy. It's just what I put together in about 2 minutes. So Mystery Inc. will be facing up against the Jorvik Jets. So Mystery Inc., the Slayers, the inheritors of Masterful's crown, now up against the team that had made an incredible run, but no one really expected to make it in. And then West Street War versus the Dead Ends. I think we get a fairly clear idea that the Orcs were a pretty good team to bring in, since we got 2 of them in the top 4, but
The
only one
league-
of them goes to the finals.
The league has been extremely punchy thus far, but as you say, only one Orc team can make it. It's all going to be here to play for next week, and I do hope you'll join us for that.
Guys, so thank you to all of our teams, all our players, and all of our viewers who came along and watched. Again, the plan for next week is we'll start a little bit early. We'll get at the semi-final matches, and then we will go on to the finals themselves, hopefully live. It's not been decided yet quite what form the finals will take. It's probably not just going to be a single game, because we don't like to do things by halves.
I'm hearing best of 7. I'm hearing best of 7.
Well, the options are, we've got like the 2-legged race kind of thing, which is 2 games you aggregate.
Yeah.
I think if you end up with a draw at that point, you just do the kickoff. Sorry, the penalty shootout.
Oh, okay.
Which is okay. We've got best of 3, which could end up being like 6 hours long. And there's best of 5, which could take the best part of a day. So we're probably not going to go for best of 7, because that doesn't... I think we could theoretically do it by just cancelling the result of the first game and then coming back and doing it again. But we'll see. I think it's going to be something. It's probably going to be the best of like 2 games. I guess that is best of 2. It's like the aggregate score between the 2. Or best of 3. But if Hoganator, Gemini, if you're in the chat, let us know what you reckon would be the best thing. Of course, the semi-finals remain as best of 1s, so we still don't know who's going to actually make it into the finals. We know at least one of them's going to be an Orc, but we know that none of them are going to be our grandma.
That is the most heartbreaking thing that's happened this tournament. Like I said it during the break after that game. The injury result pretty much secured the game. The death just feels so perfect and so it just works so well.
Yes, with grandma dies the hopes of a Blood Bowl league. Actually, no. To be fair, I mean, coming into this one, I had the feeling. I did have the feeling that the teams, all of the teams, or nearly all of the teams, are getting the chance to play up against Masterful. They were all learning, they were watching back, because we were covering Masterful quite extensively because of being at the top of the league. I thought there was probably going to be a point at which somebody managed to either put enough hits into the Tomb Guardians that they fell to pieces, or would figure out what Masterful strategy was. I think Hog Dude probably did a little bit of both in that last game, and I mean, all credit to them. To come from 8th seed to take down number 1 is incredible. And I'm so excited to see what happens in the semi-final matches, and as to who we actually get in the finals themselves. And hopefully, by the end of the finals, because we're going to be seeing several games, that both teams will be reduced to a wreck, but we will have our champion.
But unfortunately, all the action is to come next week. So, as far as this we concerned, I think we're done for the night, aren't we?
Yes, it's 11:17 at night. We've managed to make it through. It's probably going to be another late night, I suspect, for the finals itself, because of the whole best of 2, best of 3 thing. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Kirby, again for joining me on the commentary desk. We'll be back next week for semi-finals and finals of the NUEL's first ever Blood Bowl competition. We hope you guys will come and join us. It's going to be one hell of a ride, and we'll see you guys